your mouth. You had to be a big shot, didn't you? All your friends were so knocked out. You had to have the last word last night. You had to have everything's about. You had to have a white hot spotlight. You had to be a big shot last night. Whoa, 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 oh, oh, oh.
Typically not the first song that comes to mind when you think of Billy Joel.
No, but I always liked...
I love Billy Joel.
I love him, mate. Early, like, 70s Billy Joel.
He is the quintessential New York
I'll tell you,
American
yep.
like poster boy, really.
I'll tell you, The Stranger, which was in the late 70s, his album is a fucking classic.
Innocent Man, there's a classic. 52nd Street.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Where else do you want to go?
You know what my favourite lyric is that Billy Joel ever had was him Moving Out, where he goes, working too hard can give you a heart attack, you ought to know by now. Who needs a hout in hacky sack? Is that what you get for your money? And it seems such a waste of time. If that's what it's all about. Mama, if that's moving up, then I'm moving out. Moving out. Do-do-do-do-do-do. I'm moving out.
That's a great song.
You know what? We are moving out, Jason Relaxation, who joins me on this bullshit podcast. We may be moving into our dad's garage in a new studio.
God, I wouldn't want to move into Dad's garage. He's got so much fucking shit.
He's got fucking shit everywhere. He'll say that he's not a hoarder.
Oh, he is.
But fuck me, he's a big hoarder.
He's a very organised hoarder.
Absolutely. I can't stand it. Let me introduce you to this bullshit podcast. This is Invert the Why. Episode Stardate Log Captain's Log 12.1.5.9, and the USS Invert the Why is orbiting another planet of retronym and bullshit. And joining alongside me, as always, is Jason Relaxation, the silent one. And we've got Rocket Russell back. Again.
What do you mean got him back?
Again.
He practically lives here now.
Oh, but he's good, man. He's got all sorts of wacky theories. We've got a new segment, Bullshit or Fact.
Bullshit or bust.
We've already just started discussing the next bullshit or
We've
bust.
got our next topic,
and
man.
it is a cracker.
It's a cracker.
I wouldn't be surprised if it somehow slips into this episode.
No, we got to keep it away.
You know what? I've got to research that. But you know what? That is a awesome topic.
Something to look forward to.
I'm actually excited about it so much.
Daddy's going to go home and waste another
I'm going to go into another rabbit hole and not sleep anymore.
The problem is this is a really deep one.
This one goes.
This one's actually deeper than anything you've covered thus far.
Is it really?
You thought the rabbit hole you went through last night was bad?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
You hadn't even touched the surface.
Is it really this big?
This is mega fucked up because there's a lot of different evidence from lots of different sort of type. It's been documented for a long time.
When can we do this podcast? I want to do it now.
Do it this afternoon.
Yeah, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, well, that's what YouTube's for.
Yeah, YouTube
okay.
and I sit here with a tablet in front of me for a reason.
Well, you know what? Let's get this one out of the way. We got to do it.
Make it a short
Russell.
one. There you go.
We got to do. We'll make it a quickie.
It's standard, isn't it?
Make it a quickie.
I'm
That's
sorry
what
for
she
the
said.
people that roll their eyes. They go, fuck, I don't like you guys talking about Formula One. It's boring. But you know what? It's
you.
my podcast. You know what? You can get your
It's
podcast.
my podcast
and I'll cry if I want to.
You know what?
Cry if I want
This
to.
is the thing. It's what I want to do. And I want to talk about Formula One. I don't care what anyone else says. And you know what? Rocket Russell
matter,
came
you've only
back.
got two people watching.
You know what? We made up. We had a disagreement last time.
We did have a
talking
disagreement.
about Formula One. And you know what? I'm going to say too, this fuckwit Jason Relaxation decided to upload it like 20 years too late. So by the time it finally went up, all the shit that we talked about was basically irrelevant. But you know what, Rocket Russell? I just want to point out that yet again, I was right. Yet again, I predicted that Bottas would stay at Mercedes. Yet again, that I predicted that Ocon would go to Renault. That all happened.
Yep.
And all we don't really know about at this stage is Hulkenberg. Where's he going?
Well, the rumour is he's going. Grosjean's gone from Haas.
I hope he is, man. I really do.
That's where Hulk will end up.
I
mean, everybody's talking about it. It's like one of the worst kept secrets in the paddock at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you think Grosjean's gone out of Formula One completely?
I don't see a seat for him.
No, I don't either. You know where he'll go? Formula E.
Well,
He'll probably go somewhere like that. It seems like
Where
Formula
the cars
E.
need to be recharged after every lap.
It seems like Formula E needs to be where the good F1 drivers go to die, basically.
It's like the
graveyard.
NRL. It's like the NRL in Australia. You know, you play your good years in the NRL in Australia, and then your swan song where you make your monies when you go over to England for the Super League.
Yeah. You know what? It's just like the graveyard. It's like a graveyard.
But
man.
on the Formula E front, have you seen the Porsche concept Formula E car?
No, I don't know much about Formula E.
Did you hear about the Porsche naming their new E vehicle, the Carrera, the Turbo?
The Tayman or whatever they call it?
No, it's got the word turbo in its name. And it's like, don't you guys actually know how engines work? Because the last time I checked, like an electric engine does not have a turbo.
No.
Nor can a turbo contribute to a turbo's power.
It can. It's going to blow air over it to keep it cool.
Oh, it could, but where's the exhaust coming from?
Good point.
So what we don't know about, going back to F1, is we don't know about Grosjean. Is that right?
We don't know.
That's the last guy that is, and Hulkenberg. We don't know.
Yeah, we know Hulkenberg's gone. We don't know where he's going.
Yeah.
And the strong rumours in the paddock, and I mean, this is what Toto Wolff, Christian Horner, everybody's basically expecting him to sign with Haas.
Yeah. Look, I hope it happens because I'd hate to see someone like Hulkenberg leave the sport because he hasn't had good luck.
How old is he?
That's the problem. Hulkenberg's 31.
So he's getting pretty late.
Yeah. You know what? In the old days, Rocket Russell and I spoke about this. 31 was in your prime.
31 was
now you're an old man.
Yeah, they're all
because you've got
kids.
these young kids that are coming up like through the ranks where they're 18, 19, 20, 21, whatever it is.
I was sitting down with Jess last night, my wife. Shout out to you. Love ya.
You know what? Shout out to Mrs. Rocket Russell. Thank you for letting Rocket Russell come out again and talking bullshit with us this weekend. We really appreciate it, Mrs. Rocket Russell.
She sat down yesterday and I was watching Practice 3, I believe it was, and they had Lando Norris on. And she's like, is that like somebody's son? I'm like, no. That's Lando Norris, the Formula 1 driver. She's like, but he doesn't look old enough to have hair. I was like, yeah, it's a bit like that nowadays.
He's got hair, just not down there.
Now, isn't that where Ricardo said that was a classic in the press conference?
Do you have pubes yet?
Yeah, he said, was it to Lando Norris or was it? Yeah, it was to Lando. He says, do you have pubes yet? Yep. And Lando Norris pissed himself. He couldn't stop laughing. He had tears coming out of his eyes. What's that?
That's the
concept car. Oh, that's sexy.
What, the F1 concept car?
No, this is the Formula E Porsche
Formula
concept.
Jeez, it's sexy.
Yeah, they look good.
They look amazing, but...
see what I'm saying? Look, this is what the 2021 regulations should fix with the Formula 1 side of things, because see how the halo on that car fits with a car?
Yeah.
The current cars in Formula 1 are not attractive-looking cars, because that halo just is bolted on to a monocog that was designed back in the 2000s, basically.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't really fit. And plus they've got all these weird aero attachments hanging off it. We went over this last time. So what we've seen so far up until this time of this recording, which I should point out is just before Monza, the Italian Grand Prix.
We've had the qualifying.
Yeah, we'll go over that. We've had the qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix. It's yet to race at the time of this recording, so everything we say will probably be useless by the time fucking Jason Relaxation uploads it. I've had that argument with him, but he doesn't listen to me. So that's why I'm going to have a heart attack. It's like Popeye.
Popeye.
Olive. Look at you.
That was a good one. Come on.
Give me credit, you fuck. That was really good. But you know what? Here's the thing. The regulations we've seen, apparently, according to, who was it? Ross Brawn, they're like stage 1.
So the car, we've seen a car now. We've had the...
well, that's what they're saying was the first version.
Yeah,
we've not actually seen the final version.
No, but the rumour is because what they've released is they didn't want to release the proper... Apparently it's done. They've decided on the front and back wings. Everything is designed and done. They didn't want to show the car... the proper car to the teams in that wind tunnel test video they released.
To give them too much of a
They
head
didn't want
start.
too much of a head start. So basically what they've come out and said is the body is pretty much staying the same. The front and rear rings will be different. And they've got it all sorted. They are now working on the rule book. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to preempt all the Formula 1 teams. We all know will do is get the rule book and they will find any loopholes. So apparently they're now going through looking for loopholes. So
The Maid
Hopefully,
Lady.
the Maid. Ooh.
The Maid Lady.
You haven't mentioned her.
No,
in
I
a
haven't
while.
mentioned the Maid Lady for a while. She's been a bit crazy on the old Instagram, the Maid Lady.
What, as if putting a feather duster up your ass wasn't
Well,
crazy
you know
enough?
what? She's taken to what's her little thing at the moment?
She's taken to paying her taxes.
Yeah, she's not wearing anything over her bum. Basically, is what the Maid Lady does these days. But it's been a while since I mentioned the Maid Lady.
It has been a while.
Yeah, shout out to the Maid Lady. She knows who she is. Actually, she doesn't. She doesn't listen to this podcast. You know why? Because I'm insignificant compared to the Maid Lady, which would break my heart if I gave a fuck. But I don't.
If I only had a heart.
That's right. So we don't know fully the final details of the
No.
2021 regulations, but on the surface that we've
On
seen,
the surface,
looks good.
Looks good.
Yeah,
and if they can come up with those rear numbers, like they're saying 5% downforce loss on a
Yeah.
car behind, if they can come up with those numbers, it's going to be some good racing.
Yeah.
And the car looks clean.
The car looks what I want it to look like.
Yeah,
it
none
looks,
of this
it looks,
fucking
no.
stupid little fucking
No.
fingers off
No,
everywhere.
no, it looks like futuristic. It looks like a big reset.
Yeah.
and that's what we wanted.
And they're
right?
saying there will be no aerodynamic stupid finger aids and all this.
No, they've
kind
got
of
to
stuff.
clean that up. But you know what? They should have done that this year, right? They should have. I know it's too late now. The party's over with all that shit. But at the end of the day, when they cleaned up the front wing, because they took all the elements off the front wing for this season, they should have taken the barge board elements off too. They should have put it back to a traditional barge board like we used to have in the 80s and even the noughties, basically.
Even the early 2000s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying is that they should have made that reset now. I don't know why they didn't go.
I think they've just let it go. It's like, well, we know we've got a new car coming in 2021.
Yeah, but they look. Why take the elements off the wing then if you're going to do that shit? You know what I mean?
Maybe it was too costly to do
Yeah.
for the entire body, and you
Yeah.
know, in this whole new world of cost cutting and
they've yet to decide on the budget restraints. That's the big sticking point.
That
I think
will
the
be.
teams have agreed on the concept of the way the car looks. I think that's been signed off. But what the teams at the present time can't agree on is the cost cutting or the budget cap.
which is understandable. I mean, you know, they're talking about they've confirmed next year's calendar, haven't they? So they've added races,
There's they've added a lot of races which some of the teams don't like.
and that's what they're saying. The team's saying, well, hang on, you've added races, you want us to cut costs, but
you're
you've
putting
added
more
races
in. Yeah.
So how does that work
You know
out? And
what?
then the FIA's
Yeah.
come back and said, well, we've canned a day of testing.
yeah, but
Well, we want testing.
Yeah,
That's what
that's right.
If you want us to get ready in time
here's
for
the
the next
thing.
season, Jesus fuck.
They don't get it. They still don't get it. I'm sorry they don't. I know they've got the car looking the way we want it to look. I know they're trying to make a concerted effort to make the cars more, I guess, there's not a word for it, but raceable. They can get closer to the other car in front. But the fundamental issue will still remain. They're handicapped. They've restricted the number of days that they can test. And now they've still got that silly rule on you've got to have at least 4 races per engine
Yep.
before you're allowed to change it. Although yesterday I heard during P1 or P2 they're thinking about not penalising the driver but penalising the constructor.
No, there was two-way, wasn't it?
Well, you know what? It was the first time I've ever heard someone say, don't penalise the guy driving the thing, penalise the team. Hallelujah. Like, you and I came up with that 100 million years ago, and so did every other fan of F1. People don't care that because you're trying to sell it to people that don't really understand sport, right?
Yes.
And what you're telling the casual viewer at the moment is that I'm going to use an example. Daniel Ricciardo's penalised because the MG UK in the Renault engine had to be changed, and he's only allowed 3 of them, and he's up to his 4th,
Didn't you
and he
know-
has to go at the back
What the
of the
fuck has that
grid.
got to do with the driver?
Well, didn't Daniel know when he was designing this engine?
That's
apart,
right.
You know,
So you know what I mean?
off.
It's stupid. So finally they're starting to talk about let's let the guy race, and if he happens to win or get a podium, the team doesn't benefit, but
Yes.
the driver's not penalised for the win.
they're talking
right?
about penalising him a little bit, but
Yeah.
nowhere near as
But not- but
significant
not
as
like
what
it
it
is
is
now.
now.
No, now it's
but they're
stupid.
saying the only reason they're doing that is because, well, like Mercedes. Okay, so we're only going to cop constructor points for throwing new motors in. We'll win the drivers' championship, so we'll throw a new motor in every race. So that's why they're talking about there is still going to have to be a bit of a driver penalty there,
Yeah.
so that teams don't do that
Yeah.
kind of shenanigans. Because you know,
But they're
teams,
starting to wake up finally after about 3, 4, 5 years of this bullshit. they're starting to wake up and go, you know what? It's cost us more to create an engine that's reliable enough to do multiple races. Maybe it would be best to relax that a little bit. Finally, they're fucking woken up.
Well, Christian whatever, Christian, his name, fucking Horner, that's it. I always get it. He's already come out and said that. He's like, give us 5 engines.
Yeah.
You know, because the cost of making 3 reliable engines is
higher.
Astronomical.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, give us 5 engines that aren't as reliable and let's go from there.
Yeah, and someone else, I heard it's interesting. I don't know who was doing the commentary at the time. I can't remember, but it was during one of the practice sessions for Monza this weekend. Someone said they actually like seeing engines pop and squeak and smoke because it adds to the drama of it. And fuck, what did I say back on an earlier podcast we did? That was the thing that was awesome about the 90s, because the engine manufacturers were allowed to do whatever they wanted to do. They didn't care about how many engines they blew. They pushed the boundaries of performance, and they might have paid the price for reliability. But now you don't see any of that shit because they're so conservative with their targets.
Yep.
They sacrifice performance for reliability, but we, the people that watch the sport,
get to see
don't
nothing.
See drama
We,
on
the
the track.
people who watch the sport, buy the merchandise.
That's right. We don't get
turn up to track.
That's right. We don't get to see the drama on the track in regards to engine blow-ups, right? I think that...
And do you know what else?
What?
That was also the most fun part of playing the video games as well.
Oh, yeah, but that's more the codemasters still can't get it through their head that we want random reliability.
Yeah, but if you're basing it on the real season where shit doesn't go wrong anyway.
Well, look, and we're playing Formula 1 season at the moment. Why the fuck is Alonso so fucking strong?
Oh, but that's... You know why? Okay,
I know his name and his photo was on the front cover. But I'm sorry, Alonso was never that fast in a fucking McLaren. He's fucking catchable.
No, see, what happened was you guys, shout out to the Pickle Bear, shout out to the Supermodel 666. He knows who he is. Right? You fuck. You didn't have the setting right. You got to have realistic... Or, what is it?
No, we've got the cars on realistic.
Yeah,
but matched.
Yeah, matched, right? But we're playing 2018 because you guys convinced me to play on that fucking Xbox One, that fucking stupid console, right? Whereas I could have played 2019 on the PS4, albeit with a Pickle Bear, right? Who's become like... Remember Breaking Bad? When fucking Walter White used to work for the Chicken Man and he'd get the random text message, Polos, ? Remember that? Well, now I get Race, ? By the Pickle Bear. It's the same fucking thing. I might as well go and make a batch of meth. You know what I mean? It's like go to work. Jesus Christ. But he always texts me at the worst fucking time, right? It'll be like when I'm ready to go to bed. It'll be when I'm ready to do some other bullshit. Race, ? Fuck me. And then when I say to him, I can't race, he's like, oh, you don't want to race anymore. It's like you feel bad.
It doesn't come back with the love.
It comes back with love. What am I supposed to do? If I have to choose between that and love, what am I going to do? I'm going to choose fucking love. Right? I'm not gonna say, oh no, I'm gonna play F1 2018 with a bunch of nerds tonight. No, not gonna happen, right? But look,
we should do that. We should throw that out for our Patreon listeners. Listeners, want to join us in a Formula 1 season? We're playing 2018 on the Xbox One on a Monday night at about 8:30 Australian time.
That's right.
Send us an invite and come on and have some fun with us.
That's right. But let's not give out our gamer tags because then we'll get random people going, oh, you suck. All you ever do is talk about Formula 1 and you upload it too late, so by the time you talk about it, it's shit. And I want to have sex with your mum. Be some fucking loser like that. I'm not having it. You know? Going back to Formula 1.
But if you're on our friends list, feel free. Monday nights about 8:30.
That's right, because the friends list is pretty much the sum total of our listeners.
And you know what,
anyway.
Rocket Russell, while we're talking about the Xbox, let's have a little advertisement right now. We're not... Roll it, monkeys.
Is it for the Kinect?
Roll it, monkeys. I want to reiterate that we are not sponsored, and I repeat, not sponsored by Xbox Kinect. But if we were, this is what I would say. Hey kids, if you want to have a splendid time in your living room playing with a Xbox, why don't you get an Xbox Kinect? That's right. Wave your arms around like you just don't care and wiggle your fat ass in the living room like a fucking idiot playing the Kinect. The Kinect is the latest thing that Microsoft has come out with for your Xbox. Although that's right, they cancelled it in 2018. But it's still fun, like Kinect Sports. That's right, Microsoft Xbox Kinect, a product that everybody wants this Christmas.
Collecting dust on your shelf.
That's right.
Collecting dust on top of your TV.
Actually, it was underneath the TV because it was too fat to sit on the TV. I didn't want that thing looking at me, man. That thing looked like the HAL 9000.
You should probably wear pants when you play your games.
You know what? I wanted to scan my doodle and see what it said. Because Bixby Vision says it was assist. So I wonder what Kinect says about it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is weird that, because I've got a Kinect.
So do I. I'm a fucking idiot.
Well, it come with my original Xbox, my OG Xbox.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. We've got that's a sore point for the drunken monkey. Shout out to him.
Go the drunken monkey, who I don't know. Yep.
You don't? Well, you might.
Apparently I do, because he's on my friends list.
He's on your friends list somehow with the Xbox One, but he wouldn't know. He hasn't turned on his Xbox One for about 5 years. He refuses to turn it on.
But then I got the Xbox One X, and when I went to plug in my Kinect, because it's sitting on top of my TV, not doing anything, so I thought, I'll plug it in. And there's not even a plug on the Xbox.
No, because they got rid of it. So what happened was...
It's deprecated completely.
What they did was, when the Xbox One S, and then later on the Xbox One X came out, they got rid of the proprietary socket for the Xbox Kinect, right? You could buy an adapter at that time to connect it to the Xbox One, but they actually got rid of that proprietary socket, which was Microsoft's general way of saying the Kinect is dead, right? Now,
unless you work for the Ghost Adventures, in which case you use it as a ghost scanner.
See, I actually use mine hooked up to my PC as a 3D scanner.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's what they use.
Well, they got rid of that socket because you remember it was proprietary.
Yeah, because I had to buy a special power. Well, for the original Xbox Kinect, I had to buy a special power socket thing, which had a USB converter.
Yep. You're talking the 360 Kinect.
And now the Kinect
for the Xbox One.
Well, for the Xbox One, you've actually physically got to take it apart and do a bit of soldering.
Yeah. No, you can actually. Well, you could have. So what Microsoft did when the 1S came out, and then later on the X, they didn't put that. As I said, they didn't put that proprietary connector in.
Yeah.
Right. So what they did was they said you could buy an adapter. Right. To avoid what you've just done. So you buy an adapter and you plug it back into your Xbox One X, I think through a USB port, I think.
Okay.
Right? But they've since killed all of that. They no longer manufacture the adapter, and they sure as shit no longer manufacture the Kinect. Right? And for good reason, it was shit.
So they actually turned it into a basically an Azure Cognitive Service now. So if you did want to hook up, I don't know how it works. I haven't actually looked at that particular API, but apparently you can use it in the cloud and get the same bang for your buck.
Mate, you would be one of the very, very few people that give a shit. I'm telling you now. Mate, you are so niche. It's unbelievable.
But they use it on Ghost Adventures. That's how they detect
but that's
ghosts.
Not what it was intended to do.
No.
It was intended to be the Wii killer. Remember? Like, I don't want to go into it. It's a Formula One podcast,
yes.
but it was a Wii killer, right? Because remember when the Wii came out? It was killing the Sony PlayStation 3 as well as the Xbox 360 at that time in terms of sales. And both Microsoft and Sony went, oh, shit, we better do something with motion controls. And so Sony came out with the Move, and Microsoft came out with the Kinect. Now, I'll give credit where credit's due. The Kinect was way more innovative than anything else because it was no controller, right? And the tech was pretty good. The problem is it didn't work. Right, and the big problem is, you've started me now. The big problem is, a couple of years later, they came out with the Xbox One, and they said to us, "Oh, look, the connector with the 360 is Kinect version 1.0, and all the shit that you went through with that, it's fixed now, and here's the Kinect 2.0. It's way better than the shit that we made you buy, or we wanted you to buy, I should say, for the 360. This is what you got to have." And you know what? Then they did make you buy it with the Xbox One original. They did make you buy it.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't avoid it. It was in the pack.
It came in the pack.
That's right. So you are the fucking nichest of niches, man. I'm telling you. No one wants to use an Xbox bloody Kinect. I'm telling you.
As I said, it's hooked up to my PC and it's for my 3D printers.
Yeah.
So I just do it.
See, that was the real dick move that Microsoft made with that the Xbox One Kinect, not the 360 Kinect. Because the 360 Kinect used USB, remember?
Well, it had that stupid plug. It had a proprietary. You could buy easily. You could buy a power pack that.
Yeah, but the Xbox One had the proprietary, The Xbox 360 had the USB connect. It was
No, it had a proprietary one as well.
No, it was USB.
I will put my left testy on it.
Fucking Google it. Google it.
I have a
bitch.
feeling it was proprietary, actually.
No, Xbox One original.
Xbox 360?
No, it was USB.
It wasn't.
It was USB, I think.
Left testicle. Start cutting it off now, bitch.
Don't need
You
them.
owe
Don't
me
need
a
them
left-
anyway, man. I'm shooting blanks. You can fucking have my testicles.
No, it as far as I can tell, you had to buy an adapter to make it USB.
Not for the Xbox 360.
Yes, you did. I had to buy an
Oh,
adapter.
fuck off. I've got one at home.
Well, then when we get back to your place, you can start cutting
Yeah,
your
but
left
these
nut off
fucking
there.
idiots that aren't listening to us now, they've dropped off because they're fucking bored, because they wanted us to talk about Formula One, not the fucking Kinect, would say, well, how do we know you're fucking right, Retro Dan, you fucking idiot? No,
Because
no,
you're going to take a
you
photo and
don't.
post it on
The Xbox
Instagram.
360 Kinect original was fucking USB. I'm telling you now.
And I'm telling you now, you owe me a left nut.
It was fucking three.
You don't want his left nut.
No, I do now.
Turn it into one of those coin
Would you like to
coin
see the
bags.
plug? Because there's the adapter. And you can see there quite clearly that it has a USB plug on one side.
You
And on
didn't
the
need that though.
You did.
No.
Yes.
Are you talking about the power pack, or are you talking about the USB, the actual?
If you wanted to plug the original Kinect into a computer.
No, I'm talking about the 360, not the
I'm talking
computer.
about the 360.
No, the 360 was USB.
It wasn't, dude.
Oh,
Again.
fucking.
No, you're going to have to go home and check.
I don't need to.
Wikipedia. On Wikipedia. Oh, it's a fucking Xbox One. I don't care about this one.
I think this is a conversation that we need to, as we say in the corporate world, put a
Take
pin
it
in
offline?
it. Take it offline. Stick it in the
No!
car. Stick it in the car
No!
park and return to normal viewing.
Ooh, Jesus Christ.
What the fuck just fell outside?
That's
Jesus.
bad, man. I'm on the Wikipedia now.
And it's not telling you anything. There's a lot of information on Wikipedia. There's more information on this than there is on Skinwalker.
Because the Kinect senses motorized tilt mechanisms require more power than the Xbox 3 USB ports can supply, the device makes use of a proprietary connector combining USB communication, USB,
It is a proprietary
with additional
connector.
power.
You could not plug it into a USB port, dude. It was a proprietary connector.
That's what it's saying. The proprietary.
Yeah,
The
it's saying, it's literally telling you,
the USB
you owe Russell a left ball.
USB is for power.
Here it is, man. Right, I'm taking my pants off. You can
No!
get take it off. Take it off.
Oh, fuck, he's actually undoing the belt. Oh.
The balls. There they are.
Do you know what's frightening? There's a fucking mirror there too. So I've gone to turn around and there's a fucking mirror.
Oh, fuck. All right.
Stick your tiny cock back in your pants.
Yep. Oh, hang on, what did Bixby refer to it as? Cyst. Put your cyst back.
Oh,
Pack your cyst away.
I'm fucking sure it was
No,
USB.
'cause it was
man.
a
No, the
stupid
USB
thing.
was for power. The proprietary was for controlling the actual.
But it
camera.
was all in one plug.
Yeah.
It was one plug.
But it went into the USB connector though.
No, it didn't. There was a special plug on the side.
I don't remember that, man, because I've got an Xbox 360 at home.
Yeah.
The Gears of War 2 one.
Didn't I give you my Japanese Xbox 360?
You did, but I've got the Gears. I've got a couple of Xbox 360s.
So you can see there's the cable there. You can see the little notch on the side there. That is the cable.
We've learned something here.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna go
Is
home.
it?
I'm gonna go home and have a look at that. I'm not doubting you. I'm happy to be corrected if I'm wrong. And
I
I'm
only
wrong.
know it because I had to go out and buy a special power pack that it
Jesus.
plugs into to convert it into the USB and the power, so I could run it as a... Don't give me that fucking...
I'm not, because they've turned what exactly you're doing into a cognitive service in Azure.
Well, you know what? I'm happy to say to everybody on the internet, I've just lost a testicle. Don't give a fuck.
Doesn't matter, they don't work anyway.
And you know what? This is proving that I'm not of the modern era. I'm happy to be corrected if I'm wrong, and I'm wrong. And I've just lost a testicle. And I'm happy to give you my testicle, Rocket Russell. I don't know how I'm going to detach it.
I have no
how are we
idea.
going to do that now?
Detachable penis.
That's right. I've just lost my nut. But you know what? That's why you've got two nuts.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you lose one, you can still fire your
Your blanks.
Your blanks?
your blanks with your other one.
Hell yes.
I was sure that it was USB.
Nah.
It had a USB, but that was for power.
So what was the proprietary connection on the Xbox 360?
It was
then?
on the side, on the right hand side from memory. Or the left?
No, it was the
Right.
rear.
It was on the rear.
It was on
It
the
was
rear?
rear.
It was
but I
rear.
always thought it was. Hey, there's my testicles going. So it was the rear
Yep.
of the Xbox 360.
It's quite large, too. From
It was,
memory.
yeah.
It almost looked like an old fucking HDMI. Not an HDMI, sorry. An old VGA kind of pin port.
Almost had a DPI, sort of look
Yeah.
about a fatter DPI.
Yeah. God, we're nerding it up right now.
Massively. All right, F1.
I'm sorry to be. I'm sorry. I apologise. I thought it was always
I only
USB.
know it because the amount of shit I had to go through to get that
but
adapter.
you know
Because
what?
that adapter stopped production like years before I.
But I know 100% you're right with the Xbox One. 100% because people, I remember losing their minds that they pulled a dick move and they made it a really weird connector. They made it a proprietary connector.
People probably would have done that and used it on their PCs for stuff.
Yeah,
right?
and they had to buy a special adapter to use it for USB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that 100%, and that's why I thought that the 360s was a USB. Well, fuck it, I've lost a testicle. Who cares? Not a big deal.
It's all right. It's all good.
And I'm happy I even stuck my dick out to prove it to you.
Thanks for that.
Formula One.
Oh, yeah. Let's get back to it.
Where are we with Formula One? So we know that Grosjean is in jeopardy. We think that Hulkenberg is going to go to Haas.
Yep.
I hope he does. I'm sad that he's going to Haas because he's never going to get a podium. I doubt that he's of an age where people even like Ferrari are interested in him. He's actually been quoted as saying that the door has been shut when it comes to the bigger teams. So that's a shame. Grosjean, what's that?
Sorry.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So it was the... Yeah. See, that's a second model 360. So Rocket Russell's showing me the back of a 360. You remember the original 360 models didn't have HDMI out.
Nope.
They had component.
They had that stupid big AV.
So the
right.
Japanese one that I gave you
Yeah.
is component.
Yeah, I've got component only too. My very first 360 had component, right? And then the later models came with HDMI as well, right? That's a later model.
That's because HDMI was
yeah,
still in
and
its
so it's
infancy
gone
at
into
that
that AV weird, or yeah, like almost a digital,
port, yeah.
I apologise, I'm wrong. I'm
okay.
wrong. But it's been a long time since I looked at it.
Just in case anyone's interested, I will have a left ball up for sale soon.
Right, you can
eBay.
put that on eBay.
Well, actually, no. Let's put that on the thing. I will charge.
You're going to
people
put it
10
on the
cents.
description how Retro Dan lost a testicle. Fuck it, who gives a shit? I sold my soul years ago. Who fucking cares? It's only a testicle.
That's going to be the title of the show.
How Retro Dan lost his testicle.
Yep.
Who fucking cares? Well, it's like the kid that used to live near me at the old house, and he lost his eye. We always thought Gary the Asian, shout out to him. Don't know where he is. I'm going way back now on the podcasting. Gary the Asian used to tell us
Was he the
kids-
bully?
No, Gary the Asian was a cool kid that lived in our neighbourhood, and he was
'Cause he's
older.
come up
he was
before, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has.
Right at the start.
I told the story right at the start of the podcast series that we did, right? And I told the story that Gary the Asian used to tell us that this ginger kid, right? He lost his eye
That's right.
because a crow or a bird plucked his eye out, right? And I fucking believed it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah,
Right?
magpies, mate. It wouldn't surprise me.
Mate,
And
we live in Australia.
So for years and years and years, as an adult, I'd play golf, and a fucking bird in spring would come and take your golf ball, and fly off. And I used to go, well, that's how that kid lost it.
Yeah.
I believed Gary the Asian for fucking years, mate. If I saw Gary the Asian now, I'd say, listen, man, do you feel bad that you lied to me and I believed it for so long? Yes, I'm gullible as fuck. But you know what? Anything's possible. I've just lost a testicle. Who cares?
So do you know what's? I learnt an interesting Australian animal fact yesterday from Pottery Pete.
Oh, here we go. Shout out to Pottery Pete. Here we go.
Did you know that Australian scorpions are not deadly? They're really the only animal in this country that will not kill you. Whereas they get a really bad reputation because of the Mexican scorpions, which apparently are less friendly and a little bit more stabby. And the reason he knows this is his new little place that he's got out in the middle of nowhere.
Full of scorpions?
Full of scorpions.
Piss Week World's just getting so much better.
Piss Week World, he's going off. So what, he was sleeping at night in the shack and he felt these stingers.
Yeah, so what he did the next day, he went to Bunnings and bought like this super duper fucking pest spray shit. And he almost killed himself because he oversprayed and he slept in this fully sprayed out house for overnight, and then the next day he went to go get some firewood or something, and apparently he nearly passed out. And his partner called him, and he couldn't breathe, and he's out in he's 80 kilometers or whatever, 45 minutes away from Bathurst, and he can't breathe, and he's choking up and coughing up a lung.
So that means Piss Week World ain't getting off to a good start.
Yeah, no,
that's what that basically means.
He's just trying
We
to
believe
clear
there
out
will
this-
be delays to the opening of Piss Week World. Please hold.
Well, you know what? I need that little prick to sponsor us, so I'm happy to sponsor and Piss Week World, but if he's dead, I can't help him.
That's right, he nearly
You know
killed
what?
himself.
Harden up, Pottery Pete. I just lost a fucking testicle.
Right, and I'm still podcasting.
Yeah, I'm still podcast. You know what we shouldn't talk about is bad juju. You know, your testicles are a very important part of your body. You should check your balls all the time. You never know. Testicular cancer is fucking real, yo.
So is bowel cancer.
A fucking oath. You get. I'm very close to getting the kit. Because when you turn 50, you get a kit, don't
7
you?
more years.
What for your ass?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
make you check for bowel cancer.
And don't leave it in your drawer.
I have the pleasure of having a butt cam every once in a while that takes care of that job.
Yeah, you do that for your boyfriend.
That's fucking
That's fucking gold.
God, I guarantee that's actually a thing somewhere.
I'm telling you now, it is. I'll put money on it.
Somewhere in Japan.
I was going to say German.
And you know what it's like, Mr. Slave? Shout out to the weapon. He's been calling me Mr. Slave for fucking a couple of days. Every time I see him, he goes, "Oh, Jesus Christ." Oh, fuck. I want to check my balls are okay because I've just sold him the Rocket Russell. It's like voodoo shit. It's like voodoo. He's got the voodoo doll or something.
You don't think I'm having it mounted into a necklace,
say-
do you?
It's going to be like Blair Witch. You're going to see them dangling from a tree at some point in the near future.
Oh, man, this is fucking bad, man. That's bad juju, man. I want to talk about juju at one point.
I want to talk
but
about the new Blair Witch game. Apparently that shit's scary.
You get an achievement for patting a dog, that's all I know.
Do you?
Yeah. Pat the dog, you get a couple of gamer points.
You rub his ears, apparently.
You get gamer points. Just get hot tip, kids.
I got an achievement the other night from changing my brake bias on F1
Did you?
2018.
Did you?
Yeah, in race.
I might do that next time I get a couple of gamer
Yeah, because
points.
you need them.
I do need them. I need everything. I'm getting close to a milestone on the trophy front on the PlayStation. I'm very excited about that. This could be a day long remembered. I get a couple more achievements on the Xbox and I make a couple more trophies on the PlayStation.
Have you got more
a day long remembered?
Have you got more points than Drunken Monkey yet?
No, I'm getting close.
Maybe that'll help him switch on his console.
Nah, he doesn't give a shit now. You haven't heard it yet, folks, because we haven't uploaded it at the time of this recording. He's fucking a bit bitter with the Xbox. Mate, you wait till you
He
hear
is
it,
no
Rocket
longer
Russell.
a Microsoft
Fuck,
fanboy.
it got dark.
Yeah, we had to lighten it up.
We had to lighten it up. Halfway through the podcast, he's like, I think we should change tack. Actually, it was more like this in his Cockney accent. He went, I think we should change tack, Dad. It's getting a little bit dark.
It's a good accent.
It's not bad, is
It's
it?
a good accent.
Goes, it's getting a little bit dark. I think we should change it up a bit. Let's make it a bit more light-hearted. I don't mean to bash the Xbox. Formula One. Okay, Grosjean's out. I think Grosjean's out. Hulkenberg's
I think
in.
that's the general consensus.
But you know what? I feel sorry for the Hulk. He's even been quoted as saying the big teams have passed him by. He's locked
He's
out.
too old
He's
now.
too old. He's got no affiliation with them. And this is the
It
tragedy.
doesn't bring the money either.
I was thinking about this the other day, right? Hulkenberg really would have thought when he signed for Renault that was his chance.
Oh, that was his...
Because he was signing for a works manufacturer, right? Renault were on the up. He didn't expect to win championships with them straight away, but he expected more from them. And I can tell when he walks away now from Renault, he's a bit bitter. He's a bit disappointed. I think if you asked him, you'd say, listen, man, are you a bit disappointed with how things worked out at Renault? He'd have to say yes. He spent 3 seasons with that team. He was there from the beginning.
Yep.
And he got nothing from them.
Absolutely nothing.
And he wasted 3 seasons with them, basically. And he might have been, you said at one point he might have been better off at Force India, but I think he would have lost that battle too with Perez. Perez brings more money in. And of course, Lance Stroll, that's the son of the owner.
Yeah.
You would have been out anyway.
He's the son of the owner of the team, so that's not going to work out for him.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, Lance Stroll hasn't done too bad this season. I've got to say, he's not bad. He's getting better. I can tell by the look on your face.
I
You're not
still
happy.
don't like him.
No, I don't like him
I don't
either.
think there's,
but you know
What
what?
a rich little fuck getting
yeah,
into.
but for a
car.
paid driver, he's doing okay.
Yeah, he's doing
There's a lot of worse paid drivers out there. I can fucking list them. Right? But he's actually been okay. Right?
Yeah.
Perez walks all over him. Perez is class.
Perez,
Yeah.
class. You know.
But Perez is in the Hulkenberg
So
category.
Perez has also signed
Yeah,
with
that was-
3-year deal with
How long
Racing
did-
Point.
2022?
Yeah, 3-year deal he signed.
Yeah, that's a fucking long time.
It is a long time, really.
But where's he going to go? He's
He's too gone.
he's old now.
He's missed his window.
He had his chance at McLaren, but when he went to McLaren, I think it was in 2012, I think it was.
Too early.
He's even been quoted as saying he wasn't mature enough to handle the pressure.
And this is why I'm worried about Albon going up to Red Bull. You know,
No, he's all right. I think he's okay. I'll tell you what, he was okay in Spa.
He was okay. He hasn't done too bad in
No,
qualifying.
he hasn't. I'll tell you what, I know we're going to have this, what I'm about to say is going to be obsolete by the time we upload this shit.
Maybe.
But at the time, if he does okay at tonight in Monza, he'll be. That's going to be the test for him. He needs to do okay because he's got a big advantage over Verstappen because Verstappen's at the back of the grid.
Starting from the back.
Right
yep.
now, I'll tell you something. If Verstappen goes past Albon, and Albon's qualified what?
Fifth?
No, he's less than that. He's behind the Renaults. I think
sorry,
it's
not-
ninth. I think he's ninth.
He is eighth.
Eighth. If Verstappen gets past him, that's not good for him, right? Because Gasly would be the guy that Verstappen would get past, even though Verstappen's starting at the back of the grid. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think Albon's he's a class act. I think he'll be okay. I really do.
Still so young. So young.
But they all are now.
I know,
Norris,
it's ridiculous.
Norris, Albon,
Russell.
Russell. Who else? Verstappen himself.
Sainz.
Carlos Sainz. He's a little bit older, but not that much older.
Not that much.
Leclerc.
Leclerc.
Yeah, he's. Well, I'll tell you, that's the other one. I'm glad you said that. Leclerc getting pole for tonight's Italian Grand Prix, and again, who knows? We don't know yet. Vettel's in the shit. I don't care. Vettel is really in the shit now.
It was a close qualifying. I mean, what between the top four guys is what 0.1 of a second.
I saw an interesting stat last night after qualifying. Leclerc has out-qualified Vettel 7 times in a row.
Yes.
Wow.
That's fucking big.
That's huge,
Right? Now,
and especially with a team of Ferrari, who will they don't. I mean,
Yep.
you may sign your deal as a number one
Yep.
driver, but
Yeah, they'll switch
they'll
pretty
fucking
quick.
switch in a
Yep.
heartbeat if you're not performing.
Now, I was a bit harsh on Leclerc at the start of the season. I said something like, well, Leclerc, you should have done a bit better. I was hard on him. But really, the last couple of races, he's turned it on big time. And
he's taken
do-
a reset, hasn't he?
awesome. And now it's Vettel that's in the shit. Now, when I saw that stat last night that Vettel's been out-qualified now 7 times in a row, that's unacceptable because he's supposed to be the team leader.
He's meant to
Right?
be the guy there.
He's supposed to be, well, he's the most senior guy there, so we'll assume that, and Leclerc's a rookie in that team. It's his first year in Ferrari, isn't it? So Vettel should be leading the way, and he's not. He's getting beaten. And I think Leclerc's getting confidence. And
he's coming off.
You can tell by the body language. When you look at Leclerc, he's like the fucking, he's the king of the hill. When you look at Vettel, he looks like an old man. He wants to give it up. He's fucking done. I'm telling you, he's done. He's got another year with, what's he got? Another 2 years with Ferrari?
Another year,
A year?
think.
He's got a year,
Because the
hasn't he?
majority of the big boys only signed to 2020.
That's right. They're waiting to see the...
Waiting to see, like, Lewis is up next year,
Danny-
Seb's up, Danny's
Danny's
up.
up.
All the big
Yep.
boys have
Yeah.
got their contracts working
Mate,
into
where do
2021.
there's a wacky rumour going on at the moment. He's going back to Red Bull.
That is a big rumor, and it keeps getting momentum.
It gets bigger and bigger.
It's
that
getting
rumour.
momentum, and
It
there
wouldn't.
was-
It would not surprise me.
No,
at
I
all.
don't think he'll go
and
back.
what's his name? The dude from Autosports we were discussing earlier on.
Oh yeah, the big guy and all that.
I didn't want to say that because we're on a podcast
No.
and people may be listening.
No.
Even he,
I just lost a testicle. I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm half a man.
even he thinks that he'll end up at Red Bull. He reckons the Red Bull driver pool is depleted, and they'll bring Verstappen back.
They've got nobody because
Just like Daniel's gene pool now.
Well, they lost Dan Ticktum, who was their part of their junior program at Red Bull there, and he was one of their future hopes. Dan Ticktum from I think from Great Britain, and he's no longer part of the Red Bull program, and they've lost another driver or two. But yeah, as the Autosport guys were saying, there's very few in their gene pool now.
Yep.
They don't have a lot going for them in terms of drivers. They're going to have to look outside now. Mm-hmm. And again,
Apparently it's the first time they've looked outside in a long time.
yeah, but they fucked up. They should never have let Carlos Sainz Jr. go. That's my point. I made that point earlier on. They made 2 mistakes last year. They should never have let Carlos Sainz Jr. go, and they encouraged Daniel to go pretty much by making silly moves against him with Verstappen, right? And so really, if Daniel was going to walk, they should have got Carlos Sainz Jr. in and said, and this is where Christian Horner, as a team principal, hasn't done a great job, in my opinion. Not that I know how you run a team, but as an outsider looking in, I would have said, look, guys, I know you don't get along, but we're running a team here. Fuck it. You guys sort it out, right? But do your performance and your talking on the track, and don't bang the cars together, and we'll be happy. You don't have to be best as the mates, but that's what you need to do. And they lost potentially one of the really, really good young drivers out there, like in Carlos Sainz Jr.
He's not a bad little driver.
Good driver.
Yeah.
He's doing well at McLaren. He ain't coming back now.
Nah, he's entrenched himself.
He
in
must be
McLaren.
smiling from ear to ear because he sees the fuck up of Renault, and Renault ditched him as well last year. And then he was looking.
Renault ditched a lot of people last year.
Well, you know what? This time last year, Carlos Sainz Jr. was looking for a seat, and they thought at one time he might not have a seat in Formula One, which was insane. And then McLaren threw him a lifeline, and he's doing really well at McLaren. McLaren have landed on their feet this year because they've got Lando Norris, who's awesome, and they've got Carlos Sainz Jr.
I actually felt so sorry for him in that last race. I mean,
Yeah, that was bad.
Your best result ever.
Lando Norris. Yeah.
Poor old Lando, and just, a lap before the end?
Yeah, the final lap, his car shit itself.
The
Yeah.
car shit itself. Poor guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's just...
So going back to what we were initially talking about with Formula One, in terms of seat movement, at the moment we don't know about Hulkenberg, but we'll take a guess.
Take a guess, he's on Haas. Grosjean's gone.
Grosjean, I'd say, is gone. I don't think there's a seat for him anywhere else. And that's really the only one, isn't it?
There's only one other one is Kubica.
Kubica's got to go.
No one knows what's going to happen. Everyone's pretty much in the same boat. That
You know who'll go? I'll tell you who'll get Kubica's seat. Nicholas Latifi.
He's actually been doing really well in the FP1 sessions.
The young Canadian who's done well in practice sessions.
Who's he with?
As a driver.
Is he part of the Mercedes Academy?
I think he is, yeah.
Well, that makes sense that he'll come.
But he's been doing practice sessions with Williams.
Yeah, he's been doing the FP1s.
Nicholas Latifi will get Kubica's seat. Mark my words. If Kubica's there next year, I'll be shocked.
He won't be.
No, he's done then.
Look, he's
a dead man walking, mate. I'm sorry to say it.
Great to have managed to, from what you did to get back.
Yep, awesome.
You know,
mate. He's a role model for people to come back into elite sports. But the problem is,
he's just not performing.
It can't be 2 seconds or a second behind your teammate who's a rookie. We went over this, and I thought about it after the podcast with you last time. Who would fill those shoes? It's got to be Nicholas Latifi from Canada.
Yeah,
he's been doing. He's actually outperformed Kubica in practice sessions.
Yeah,
so I'd say they'd stick Nicholas Latifi in.
Well, look.
And I think Latifi brings some money as well. So
he's a Mercedes Academy.
So he brings some money to Williams who need the funds. So, mate, I think that's a done deal, and that's it, isn't it? That's nobody else.
There's no other rumours running around at the moment.
No, it's pretty quiet after that.
I mean, the only other one at the moment is Ocon with Renault, as we already discussed, and cutting his Mercedes-Benz tyres.
That's a big move, but you know what? It's good for Ocon, because Ocon had. Well, I'll tell you. I'll give you some rationale here, right? I'll give you some reasons why I think that. Ocon, I think, had very little room to move at Mercedes, because as I called it, and I was right, unlike my Xbox 360 fucking Kinect adapter, where I've lost a testicle, at least I didn't lose a testicle in this. Basically, I said that Bottas was safe, and he was, and I didn't think Ocon had any room to move in Mercedes. He was going to be sat on the sidelines again, which would have killed his career, basically.
If he had another year off, that was
it. You can't sit on the sidelines for 2 years, right? Everyone agrees on that. So his only real option in life was to go to Renault, and he's gone to Renault, and this is what I've been thinking about. That's actually the best thing for him, because he's French.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
French driver, French team.
Yeah, so here's two sides of the coin with this movement. On one side, for Daniel Ricciardo, it is awesome because he by default now becomes the team leader. He's outperformed but he's out qualified, and probably 9 times out of 10, but not always, outdriven Nico Hulkenberg, who I think's off form this year. Maybe it's the car, maybe it's Daniel coming into the team. He's off colour.
He's not been
No, he's not been the same because Hulkenberg's better than that. And I'll tell you what fucking killed him, and I think one of the commentators on Sky F1 actually said it. When he put it in the wall in Germany and he had the chance to get a podium, he's lost all confidence. And that picture of him sitting in the garage looking absolutely distraught, he knew his career was done at that point. And guess what? Very strangely, within a week or two after that incident, they announced that Ocon was going to Renault and Hulkenberg was out. Isn't that interesting? Because up until that point, as we said, Hulkenberg had tweeted, he said he was staying at Renault. Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. And then, I'd like to get the full story because, there's two stories on the old Hulk thing, isn't there? Him saying, I decided it was time to leave. And Prosty's come out and said, we offered him a 1-year deal and he wasn't interested.
I kind of feel... I don't think there was anything for Hulkenberg after the German Grand Prix. I think actually there's a bit of truth in both of those things. I actually think that Hulkenberg didn't want to be in Renault anymore. He looked like a guy that had had enough.
Yep.
But at the same time, too, I think that his performance in the German Grand Prix killed him. Killed his career at Renault.
Wasn't good.
No. Renault are desperate to get a result, and that's their best chance of getting a podium, probably this year. And he's bended in the wall, right in front of the spectators and the crowd in Germany. And I just think that was the end of him. And so when you go back to Ocon v Daniel Ricciardo, there's a couple of ways of looking at this. Ricciardo, by default, now becomes the team leader, and that's what he's always wanted, right? That's one of the reasons why he left Red Bull, because he knew he could never be team leader, that if there was a chance of winning a championship at Red Bull, by default, they'd all rally around Max Verstappen, which is completely bizarre to me, but that's the way it was going in the eyes of everybody, and including Daniel. And so now he's become the default team leader of Renault, but there's a bad side to that. The bad side is that because Ocon's French, they're very nationalistic at Renault. And if there's a sniff of being competitive, they'll rally around Ocon by default because he's French. If they're going to win races and win championships, which I've said at this point they've got no chance of doing.
Not
right?
Now. Not now. For the foreseeable future, no.
They're going to rally around Ocon because he's French. They want a French driver winning French races in a French car. I'm telling you now. That's what they want. So... But for the time being, Daniel's in the box seat.
Publicity, great, for signing someone like that to the team.
He looks happy he's a really happy camper at the moment, Daniel Ricciardo.
Interesting to see how Mercedes go next year, because I didn't realise how valuable and much of an input he had in the car setup.
Ocon,
yeah.
I think they'll be fine, but Ocon's his role was to be a
sim driver
/ test driver / spare driver, and so to do that role, dummy.
Yeah, and the laps. So was it the last race? The setup Hamilton was using was one that Ocon had decided on and done all the simulations on, and they went, "Yep, that's actually the good setup," and whacked it on Hamilton's car.
Ocon's an awesome driver. I think he'll be great at Renault, and I think if Renault are slightly competitive, or even if they've got a chance of being in the points at a fairly good level. He'll do really well.
They qualified well for tonight.
They did, but that's a bit of a furphy. Even
yeah,
Daniel
it's a
said
furphy
because they got when there's low downforce, that car performs well.
And Verstappen starting from the back.
And Verstappen so knock them down another place. So where did they qualify? Fifth and sixth. So they should have really been sixth and seventh, right? But that's better than where they were, previously. But you know what? They've got to fucking capitalise on this now. They may go down the order a little bit, but they need to finish. If they finish fifth and sixth tonight, that'll be a great result for them.
They need to not drop off the back. They need to stay in the draft.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Because tonight's all about keeping in that draft.
You know what? I think they're going to get fucked. I think you're going to find that their tyre wears look very good. You're going to find all sorts of bullshit. I put fucking money...
Tyre wear hasn't been an issue for anyone all weekend. They're saying that the medium tyre is hardly wearing, and the softs are surprisingly doing more than they were expecting it to do.
But you know what? We can look really stupid either way. They could put it on the podium, or they could finish fucking 12th, 13th, 14th, or some ridiculous thing. But you know what? They are having an absolute terrible season. And you know how terrible it is? I said to you upstairs before we did this bullshit podcast, Cyril Abitbol last night after qualifying looked like he was doing the biggest, and he had the biggest shit he's ever had. Right? The relief on his face was unbelievable. right? Because the cars qualified really well. They actually performed really well. He actually looked happy. Yeah. Cyril Abitbol.
For the first time in quite some time.
Yeah, because mate, he's got to answer to the board, right? He's managing director of Renault Racing, or whatever his position is. I know he's managing director, but he's a managing director of the racing division of that company, and the board's all over him like, mate,
what the fuck are you doing?
What are you fucking do? Why are we in this bullshit? Because the board don't have a taste or a particular love for Formula One at the moment.
No.
Not you know.
Well, so far it isn't helping them sell cars.
No. Well, that's what the board's saying. The board is saying. Right, the president of Renault at the moment he's got no love for Formula One. That's been quoted, right? And he's saying, I don't understand why we're in the sport because I don't see how it
Where's my return on investment?
Exactly. How does it translate to sales, right?
And those days are gone. It used to be race it on Sunday, sell it on Monday, but
no,
those days are long gone.
You don't get it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's brand recognition, but what does that actually translate to in sales? You know, when the French Grand Prix was on and there was a lot of Renault hats and people wearing Renault shirts in the French Grand Prix, I'm sure that didn't hurt the brand.
You get them
right?
in Melbourne too,
but,
right?
Yeah, of course. Melbourne is for Daniel, yeah. It's huge. But you know what? Ferrari say that without Formula One they can't sell cars. They've said that. That's what they say. They say Formula One helps them.
Yeah,
right?
of course it does. That's
I don't know.
They make fast cars.
They make fast cars, and Formula One basically translates to their prestige.
Yeah,
Mercedes say the same thing. Renault don't say that.
Yeah, but you got to think of their target markets. They're radically different markets, right? Yeah, the person who's looking for a Ferrari is not looking for a Renault. And vice
Renault
versa.
makes some pretty fast
Come
cars.
on, man. When I was out looking at my 488, I was thinking, I should get a Megane RS.
Yeah.
They are good cars, but
Beautiful looking.
is it the
cars.
trophy? What's it called? The Megane RS Trophy? That's like the beast.
The beast.
Oh, I
reckon it's
nearly
the
got a
shit
Megane.
hot.
Yeah, instead of getting the Golf, I nearly got the Megane. The thing is, I didn't like it was actually kind of small. Like the seat was kind of that was the deciding piece of getting the Megane.
Made by Surrender Monkeys, mate.
Come on, man.
Oh, shit, sorry.
Well, you know, you might as well leave it in there.
I will.
We've already offended some religion and a country of 1.3 billion people. Who gives a fuck? So that's where we are with the state of play of Formula One right now.
Yep.
It's the only big thing is Hulkenberg. Where's he going?
Yep.
He'll get his seat. I think Haas. Look, I'll tell you now. If Haas keep Grosjean and Magnussen, they're not serious.
Gene won't let that. There's no way Gene would let that happen.
Because Grosjean hasn't helped himself. It's one thing to have a really bad car, but when you complain about it every other weekend and actually really deflate your team and your mechanics who have worked hard on it, that's what he did, right? He's actually done that this year. He's demotivated people.
Not letting them go back to the current setup. No, I don't like your current setup. I want to stick with Melbourne. I mean, that's a slap in the face of the team. That's sort of saying everything you've done this year has been
a waste
pointless.
of time.
You know what the turning point was? I can't remember the exact race, but during a practice session, Grosjean had an accident. He binned it, and it had a lot of damage to the car, right? Then he qualified with that car after it was rebuilt. And then during the course of the race on the Sunday, at some point during the race, he gets on the radio and he says to Gunther Steiner, he says, this is the worst experience I've ever had. This is the worst car I've ever driven. I just want this race to be over. In fact, I want to retire. I hate this car.
Thanks to all the work that the mechanics put in overnight, you fuck.
Well, that's what Gunther Steiner said. Exactly what Jason Relaxation just said. Gunther Steiner said to him, well, it was no fun for the mechanics who stayed up to 3 o'clock in the morning fixing your car, then getting up early again today to be ready for the race. It wasn't fun for them, so I think you should appreciate what they did. He basically told Grosjean to go fuck himself, right? Now, you can't have a guy like that racing for you. I'm sorry, you can't.
It's bad.
And you know what? It is
done.
bad juju, right?
He's over it.
And you know what? Everyone else up on the pit lane would have heard that and said, we don't want this prick in our team.
No.
And this is why I can't believe, if you go back to like 2012, I think it was 2012, something like this, he was linked to Ferrari, Grosjean. I never liked Grosjean. I thought he was very inconsistent. Remember he got a ban in Spa? He bloody pile-drived a whole bunch of cars in the Belgian Grand Prix.
That's right.
A couple of years ago, he fucking smashed a whole bunch of cars on the first corner.
He basically thought he was
so
playing
reckless.
He thought he was playing F1 2018.
He did, but he was so reckless. He got about 2 or 3 race suspension, And
It's similar
Ferrari,
to that.
and you know what? And after that, Ferrari didn't want to know him. After that,
Why would you want to know
no.
him?
And the only team that he was in Lotus. It was in a Lotus. Remember that? It was a Lotus Renault. The Lotus Renault. I think it might have been 2013. This happened. He pile drove a whole bunch of car in the Belgian Grand Prix. He got a couple of races banned, and Ferrari didn't want to know who he was after that. And Lotus then got bought. I think they got bought out by Renault. I could be all wrong on this bullshit. He had no seat at the end. There was no place for him to go. And then later on, Haas took him. In 2015, Haas took him when Haas came into it. Odd racer, odd guy.
Odd decision to bring him back.
Odd guy. But he survived, but he's done now. I'll tell you where he's going, Formula E. At best.
They can have him.
Yeah.
He could bitch about the cars.
But you
all
know
he
what?
wants.
I could be very wrong. By the time Jason Relaxation loads this bullshit up, Grosjean could have fucking won the Italian Grand Prix. He could be on. He could have got on the podium, and he could be re-signed for Haas. You don't. Who knows? I've got no idea, but I'd be very surprised.
Tonight's going to be an interesting race.
I can see Renault going back and back and back, further back into the field. I don't think they've got the pace over a long run.
As long as they can keep in the draft, that's the thing.
They reckon their engine's okay.
Yeah, they've got the power down the straight, but
Did
no
you hear
corner.
this bullshit last night? I heard this wackiest shit I overheard. Apparently Honda, with their stage 4, whatever it is, stage 4 engine they're bringing to Japan, the Japanese Grand Prix later in the year, they reckon they're going to have more power than fucking Mercedes. They reckon they're going to be on par at the very least with Mercedes. Did you hear this wacky shit?
My question is, how the hell out of a 1.6 litre are they getting this much power?
Fucked if I know.
It's fucking
They
ridiculous.
reckon a lot of it's coming from the fuel. They do a lot of stuff with the fuel to make the combustion better. Some bullshit like this. But mate, Honda are now saying they've got parity with Mercedes.
Oh, and the Japanese are pretty
Are
good
you
at that
fucking
shit.
serious?
Look, if it was...
But I smell
If
a
it was
rat.
a Russian saying that, I'd say
So, yeah, shenanigans, but it's...
shenanigans, but it's Honda and
But
Honda.
I smell a rat. If you have a look at the rear wings on the Red Bulls,
Oh, there's nothing.
there's
to
no
them for
wings,
this.
man. That, you know what? And even Horner's like, he does it every fucking race. Oh, if we had more engine power, we might as well put a fucking jet
They have
engine on the back of it.
absolutely no wing on the back of that thing for this
So
race.
what they're saying is, look, again, I don't know shit about aerodynamics. I know shit about any of this stuff. I'm not a mechanic, but they're saying that's because they don't have engine. They don't have straight line speed. They don't have grunt in the back of the Red Bull in the Honda engine. But that's got the thinnest wing I've ever seen.
It's
It
next
is
to nothing.
so-
When
you can
DRS opens up, it's like...
Mate,
hang on,
what
I've had to
difference does it
look.
make? Yeah.
Do you know what? It is so thin you can barely see the Aston Martin logo on the back of the wing. That's how small it is.
It's amazing.
I've fucking never seen anything like that.
No.
Yet even the Renault, right, has got more of a wing on the rear of it than the Red Bull does. That's insane. And they're saying it's because they want the straight line speed at Monza because that helps them pass other cars
Which
because
makes
they don't have
sense,
enough
yeah.
engine power. So they're sacrificing downforce through the Lesmo and the Parabolica and all the other twists and turns of that track. They're sacrificing all that downforce so they can get their straight line speed because they just don't have the power. Yet the same contradiction, but then they made a contradiction by saying last night, this is Red Bull saying Honda's Stage 4 engine that they've seen on the dyno and all this bullshit at the Japanese Grand Prix when they release it will be on par, if not better than a Mercedes engine. Are you fucking serious?
And that's what the second most powerful, third most powerful unit in the system.
I think it's second. I think it's more powerful than a Renault.
I'm pretty sure Renault, with their latest upgrade, jumped Mercedes. Well,
Did
they've
they?
claimed they've dropped Mercedes. They've claimed 1,000 horsepower.
Jesus fuck.
The Renault's come a long way this
Yeah.
year. You know what? I wonder what I often think. I wonder, and it's if buts and maybes, and it's all hypothetical bullshit. But I often think, I wonder if how the Red Bulls will perform if they've got the Renault in the back of it this year. You know what other wacky theory I heard, or wacky thing I heard the other day, off Autosport. I think it was Autosport. It might have been at Sky F1. I'm a bit mixed up with it. Apparently, Honda are not committed after next year. Apparently, they are not committed after next year, 2020. They're not committed to 2021.
They
what?
want to sit back and wait for the regs as well.
That plus their proviso is they want to see if they can outperform the Renault and see if they can get more points than Renault got last year in the Red Bull. So what they're waiting for is to see whether or not their engine is up to the par of the Renault from last year, and if they can outscore Red Bull's performance from last year's season with
They've
a
already
Red
done that, haven't they, this year?
No, they haven't. No, not yet.
Not yet.
No. So they're very close, though. I think they'll do it. But that's what they're waiting for. They have not committed past next year.
A lot of teams, even, what's his name, Ross Brawn was saying when they were discussing with him the other day, they've actually had people, other manufacturers want to enter into Formula One, and they've sort of gone, no.
That pissed me off.
Just wait a moment.
That kind of shitted me, though.
Well, that's the reason they lost Porsche.
Yeah, but I was going to bring that up, actually. I'm glad you did. So Ross Brawn's there saying, because they got asked the question, there are apparently other teams that want to get into the sport. Would you entertain that? He goes, no, I think 10 teams and 10 healthy teams is all that we need. And I'm sitting there going, but hang on.
We want more.
In the fucking 90s, we had way more teams than this bullshit.
And it was way more fun.
Why wouldn't we have at least another team? What if Porsche knocked on the door? Or Audi?
Porsche already knocked.
Yeah, but they knocked them back.
They didn't knock them back. Porsche wanted more information about the 2021 regs.
But why wouldn't they entertain the idea?
Because they designed and built the motor for this current regs.
What I'm saying is, Ross Brawn's closed the door on it.
Well, he's asked...
It's what he said
in the interview I saw with him when they were discussing the cars and all that. He was saying that there are other manufacturers who are knocking on the door who want to come in, but he's told them to hold off until they've fixed up all the rules.
No, apparently he wants only 10 teams. That's what he was... I saw an interview. So Ross Brawn said...
Why would you want to do that?
I couldn't believe it. I saw
that's complete opposite of what he said in the... It was one of the Sky FM... Sky...
F1
things.
So he was in...
It was actually in the interview they were showing the new car.
No. This is a different interview. Right, he's with Martin Brundle, though. And Martin Brundle said, well, how many teams do you want, Ross? And he goes, I think we've got 10 at the moment, and they're all healthy teams financially. I think that's all we need. I'd rather have 10 healthy financial teams rather than 12 or 13 or 14 sick teams.
I'm like, hang on. Porsche wouldn't have money.
But this is what I'm saying. Why would you fucking say that? I would rather have at least another 2 teams in the sport. You know why you want more teams? So you don't have this situation that you've got with fucking Ocon and Hulkenberg. They've got more seats available. You know, this is why guys like Hulkenberg may not be in Formula One next year, right? Or even Grosjean, as much as I don't like him. You'd rather have at least somebody that has a team that's got seats available.
It's always good to have one cranky ass driver.
Oh, you got to have one.
Yeah, it's entertaining. But this is the point. Hulkenberg is at risk right now. I've been gone. He doesn't, at the time of this recording, he does not have a seat next year, right? At one point, Ocon didn't either. But if there were another 2 teams in the grid that were financial and had the performance, why is that a bad thing, Ross? That's what I'd ask him. The more seats you've got, the more teams that people can barrack for as spectators, and the more action on the track.
Porsche in there against Mercedes. Oh,
I want Porsche in. Right? Why wouldn't you want Porsche in?
I'd love to have Porsche in there.
Oh, right? That's crazy. But then you don't have these drivers that get knocked out because there's not enough seats, and they're awesome, and they did nothing wrong other than be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Hulkenberg's done nothing wrong in his career. No, he's just been at the wrong place at the wrong time,
and he's never really done anything with his career in that. Saying that, you know, there's not a podium there.
It's just middle of the field.
Yeah, middle of the field. But that's not his fault. That's because he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Hulkenberg, I think, honestly, this is his worst season as a driver performance. Right? Well, the car's shit. Right? The car is shit. The Renault is shit. Right? I've been over it. It's a fucking disgrace. But at least Daniel Ricciardo has done a bit more with it. I'll argue Daniel should have done a bit more with it in the races, but he's had issues come his way as well that have prevented it.
They've screwed him on.
They've screwed him on pitch strategy and all sorts of stuff.
Like last race, why the hell would you sit out there for 43 laps?
What were they
thinking? Those fucking tires.
What were they thinking? I don't know. At one point, he was fifth.
Yeah.
They could have put him in the pits, chucked on a couple of new tyres, and he might have finished fucking 9th or 10th, got some points, and they finished 15th. This is why Renault...
And was dropping back through if there were more laps, they would have gone further back. So I want to know what the
fuck Renault are doing. It does my head in, man. But Hulkenberg hasn't had a good year anyway, right? Probably his worst year in Formula One. But that's not his fault that the other years that he didn't have a good drive because he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. But what I'm saying is, I'd ask Ross Brawn this question. Listen, man, if you had another 2 teams, Hulkenberg might actually have a seat next year, and not as a lifeline with Haas.
Yeah,
what if you had a works manufacturer in Porsche that were competitive, right? Wouldn't you want someone like Hulkenberg to go to Porsche? I'm just throwing shit out of my ass. You know what I mean? Like,
mate, I think it's one of the biggest mistakes they made was not letting Porsche come in. I mean, but not giving them more information to help them.
They did everything they possibly could to confuse and put brick walls so that Porsche couldn't come in. Because Porsche were knocking on the door.
They'd made the motor.
I know, exactly. But why wouldn't they not encourage someone like Porsche to come in? You know, fucking insane.
Yeah.
Right? And look, I'll tell you what, if that's true what Honda is saying, or if what I heard was true, that Honda are still waiting to see what their performance is like this year, because they haven't committed beyond next year, and they lose Honda, because it's insane to me, there's only, 4 engine manufacturers.
Yep.
Are you fucking serious? What about, you know what, the other day, on Foxtel, they actually showed a classic race. They showed the 1994 San Marino Grand Prix where Senna died. But during that race, I took note of it. You know how many different manufacturers there were in terms of engine?
Oh, what?
Way more than fucking... There was Ford. There was Ferrari. There was... what else did we have? Renault. Who else was in there?
You would have had Honda.
Mercedes.
Honda would have been in there with McLaren, wouldn't they?
No. This was Peugeot, because McLaren Peugeot.
Oh, that's right.
So the Peugeot was in there. You know what I'm... So already I've forgotten a couple. Already we're missing a few, but there's more than that are currently on the grid. You know? Yeah. Peugeot at one point were a big manufacturer. So this is what I'm saying. Why would you not encourage that? Ross Brawn's basically saying, oh, well, we don't really need them. You're a fucking idiot. Sorry. I actually really rate Ross Brawn. I like him. I think he's done really great things for Formula One. But what he said there, I didn't agree with it. Not at all. You know?
You did actually, didn't you?
What?
I'm just looking back at the teams.
Oh, back in 94.
Benetton Ford, Williams Renault, Scuderia Ferrari, McLaren Peugeot, Jordan Sassol.
Jordan Ford it would have been.
Yeah. Ligier.
Oh, Ligier. Well, they ran Renault engines.
Yeah, I've completely... Tyrrell Racing Organisation.
Yep. Shout out to Nervous Nathan.
Booker, Sauber, Mercedes, Footworks, Ford.
Yep, Sauber, Mercedes, Footwork, Ford. I'll tell you what, Ford...
That's right, Ligier was Lotus, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they ran Renault engines.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, Ligier, Renault. So they ran Renault, at least in 1994 they did. But see how many teams there were and see how many different engine manufacturers there were?
24 starters.
Why the fuck would you not encourage that now?
That'd make more money.
If you had 24 seats available... People like Nico Hulkenberg wouldn't be sweating on fucking Haas. You know what I mean? He'd have more options. And I'll tell you something else. You'd have more young kids from GP2 who would have more options to go into Formula 1 too, right? Yep. So guys like Nicholas Latifi, who probably will go to Williams next year, maybe, right? He could have his pick. But now you're limited to what, 10 teams? Are you fucking serious? 20 seats you've got in Formula 1. What a fucking joke. And here's Ross Brawn saying, he has got a small point that I'll give him credit for. Back in those days, yes. Teams like Minardi, that was another one. Minardi were always financially strapped. Jordan were always a little bit financially strapped. Tyrrell in the 90s were better. Back in their heyday of the 70s and the 80s, not so much, but in the 90s they were struggling. Footwork Ford, their Footwork were in there as well.
Yeah,
Footwork. Brabham's another one. Mm-hmm. Brabham's another team in the 1990s, 1994. Brabham were also financially strapped. All these fucking teams, and you know what? They're all constructor teams too.
Yeah.
Right, so the works manufacturers have actually done a bit of damage to Formula One. They've actually dictated the terms a bit too much. Excuse me, but back in those days, you had more constructors, and they kind of were a little bit more lenient with rules and all of that sort of stuff. You know? Insane how many cars were on the grid back then.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Isn't it?
It is. I'm looking 24 cars. That's
24
brilliant.
cars. People forget. Footwork, Arrows were another one that went by the wayside. They folded in 2002. Arrows. And remember they used to use an engine back in those days, Asia Tech.
Yep. I'm looking here. I found this awesome website. And you can just punch in what year and it'll take you through to that year in the Formula One World Championship. So I've picked 84. I don't know why I picked 84. And looking at the teams, it's amazing. John Player Team Lotus. Where was it down here? The Tolman Group.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the Tolman
Yep.
group? And then where was it? Just down here. Benetton Team Alfa Romeo.
Oh, I forgot about Benetton. Yeah, Benetton Fords back then, probably.
No, it was Team Alfa Romeo back then.
Yeah, but Benetton in the 90s were Ford. They used
This
the
is
Ford.
80s.
Oh, 80s, yeah.
80s. Back, we had Barclay, Noridia, Arrows, BMW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So way more engine manufacturers
Yep.
too. And so a lot of the reason why that is too, they've always blamed the current hybrid engines on the complexity and their cost
Yes.
to manufacture and research and design. And that's true. But I don't understand Ross Brawn's comment about I'm happy with the number of teams we have.
Yeah, and so that conflicts
ru-
with what he said in another interview.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you want at least one or two more teams, man? At least one or two more teams. Then you got another two or four seats available on the grid, and you got more chance for drivers like Hulkenberg to go somewhere, or young kids like Latifi to get into Formula One, right? And I don't know the full grid of GP2. I don't know who's hot and who's not. I tell you who's gone off the boil a bit is Mick Schumacher.
He wasn't on the boil.
He's not having a good year.
He hasn't been on the boil all year. He's had
No.
one race win this year. Yeah.
Do you think he'll get in because of his name or because
He's not as good as his old man.
They've already said, Ferrari's already said he'll do another year in F2.
Yeah.
And then they'll reevaluate. But, I mean, that's just waiting for
Well-
Vettel's contract, really, isn't it?
There's rumours that they're waiting for. See, you know what? There was a wacky rumour that Giovinazzi was going to go from Alpha, and then Mick Schumacher could slide into Alpha as a feeder team for Ferrari. And if Mick Schumacher would do wonders at Alfa Romeo, then maybe he could go and replace Vettel or someone like this.
The rumour I've heard is Vettel's gone next year.
Well, Vettel's fucked. I'll tell you why he's fucked. Because Leclerc is young. He's got youth on his side. He's got age on his side. He's got plenty of time for Ferrari
And
to
he's
sort out the
changed
shit.
his whole mindset in the last couple of months.
I'd say a couple of races. He's awesome now, right?
And
And
watching him walking through
Yep.
the paddock over the course
The
of this
confidence.
weekend.
You know what? He's Mr. Confidence, and I'll tell you who Vettel is. He's Mr. fucking sad, Mr. Grumpy. If I look at the Mr. Men complete library collection that's sitting over here, shout out to Nervous Nathan.
Go Pickle Bear.
Go Pickle Bear. I'll tell you what. Vettel is gone. He looks like he's like
He's a cranky old man.
shoulders are slumped. He doesn't look happy.
Yeah, and Leclerc's his momentum from last weekend.
So you're right. Vettel will go at the end
Vettel
of
will
next
go
year.
in next year, or even end of soon.
Yeah, but
And
I don't
as
think-
you've already said, Giovinazzi up to Ferrari. He's already a Ferrari Academy
No,
driver.
Giovinazzi's out. I think he won't go to Ferrari. No.
He'll go to Ferrari.
No,
Ferrari they have trotted him out all weekend. Even though
Okay, here's a wacky rumor. Because last night they actually mentioned it for the very first time, right? This was on Sky F1. Mentioned it twice. Daniel Ricciardo potentially to Ferrari. Now, my last testicle,
mate,
my
that'd be my
last
dream.
testicle is tingling. The last one that I've got in my ball sack is tingling with anticipation on this bullshit.
Fuck, I'd be
right?
excited for
now,
that.
Now, they
I don't know if he'd
you know what they said to
personality-wise
him?
it'd go well.
I'd say that's a problem.
That's a fuck up. His personality won't suit Ferrari.
No.
They won't have his shenanigans at Ferrari. He'll have to
Tone
rein
it
it
down.
in. But I think he's done some damage with his shenanigans at Renault and at Red Bull, right? Not on the racetrack, but just in general personality. But maybe Ferrari in the modern era is changing a bit too. But they made a couple of comments. Someone said, "Oh, imagine Daniel with his Italian background or whatever it is,
That is true.
in a sea of red in a Ferrari. Imagine that." Right?
Could
but
you
know
imagine
what?
Melbourne if that happens?
Oh, mate,
Oh,
go
fuck.
fucking psychotic, man.
They love Ferrari at the
But
best
they
of times.
would literally
But
paint
they-
the town red.
But they'd
Yeah.
love him anywhere he went, particularly at Monza, right? But you know what? Here's the thing. Vettel goes, Ricciardo's at the end of contract at Renault.
Yep.
Maybe I did say he would leave Formula One if Renault was fucked. I did say that. Maybe, my hope is he goes to Ferrari, but I don't think he will because he's not affiliated with them. I don't see Giovinazzi going to Ferrari. I'm sorry, he's not good enough.
They reckon he'll go there to replace Vettel as a gap
He's not
stop.
good enough.
As a gap stop until Mick's ready.
He's not good enough.
So they reckon they'll promote Mick. They'll make him do F2 next year. Promoting
Is
the
the
year
Schumacher
after.
name worth enough to? Is it that worth?
It is worth a fucking mozza, dude.
Yeah, but
It is worth a
I don't know,
mozza.
man. They would be best putting Mick Schumacher in an Alfa Romeo.
They will.
Let him.
They reckon
ding-
they'll put him in an Alfa Romeo, not next year, but the year after.
Yep.
Giovinazzi up to Ferrari. He'll do a year in
So
the Alfa.
you got Leclerc and Giovinazzi.
and then Giovinazzi will go, and they'll bring.
See, this is where
Mick up.
Formula One's wrong. This is where the world is not just. You got a guy like Nico Hülkenberg who's going to probably leave F1 or get a really shit seat, who's way better than a Giovinazzi on any given fucking day, right? And yet Giovinazzi just strolls into Formula One, bends it multiple fucking times.
We'll probably get a Ferrari drive.
Gets a Ferrari drive and probably gets more podiums than someone like Nico Hülkenberg will ever see on any given Sunday. Are you fucking
and all
serious?
just because of Succession.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
And they need to free seats up, so they've got to move people
and it goes
around.
back to right place at right time.
Yeah. The only other thing that I've heard that could screw that is if Kimi retires. If Kimi retires, then they'll leave Giovinazzi.
What's Kimi on? One year contract
I think
next
he's on
year?
a 1 year contract.
So he's got the end of next year. Well, I'd have to say Kimi won't see the new 2021 regulations. I think Kimi will call it a day next year.
Blame him.
I don't either.
Fuck, he's not he's younger than us, but in the world of F1, he's old.
Yeah,
he's the oldest statesman out there.
He's the oldest driver, isn't he? I think Kimi will have to, and he's look of a bygone era too, to be honest.
I'll miss Kimi though.
Yeah, Kimi's
brilliant.
awesome. Kimmy's awesome. People forget how awesome Kimi was back in McLaren days. He was fucking
Even
awesome.
Ferrari days.
I don't think Ferrari did him well, and I don't think he did well at Ferrari.
Still got a world championship with him.
He did.
Default, I know.
He did. And he actually...
It's like there was
you know
a
what
lot
I
of
love?
competition, was there?
Remember back in 2007 when he finally won the championship and the confetti rolled? He looked fucking more surprised than everybody else. He didn't know what hit him. He didn't know that he won the championship. I'm telling you now. But look, I hope that Giovinazzi doesn't go to Ferrari. That's not fair. Maybe Ferrari won an Italian Ferrari, like an Italian car again, but I don't see
Dan
it.
Ricciardo though, fuck man, that's exciting if that ever happened.
But it all hinges on Renault. If Renault don't pull their socks up in time and Daniel doesn't feel confident in there, he'll go. He won't renew with Renault. He won't. I'm telling you now. I'll tell you what'll happen. Either two wacky theories. He'll either fuck off and go fuck this bullshit Formula One, or he'll luck it and land it in somewhere like Ferrari.
I'd love to see him in a Ferrari.
I'd love to see him in a Ferrari.
So
An
would
Aussie
I.
driving a Ferrari in the F1. Oh, God.
You'd make the turnout. You'd have Aussies flying literally all over the world for
You
that.
will not get tickets at Melbourne.
Melbourne would be...
You won't get a ticket.
Yeah.
You will not get a ticket in Melbourne. No.
All the fucking Itals will be out there going with their little red flags. I've got a Ferrari flag here somewhere.
So have I.
I've got one too.
Ferrari bags.
In my bedroom.
Cars. Oh,
And I look at it, and my one last testicle that gets a little bit excited when I look at it, and that's the end of it.
Yep. Well, I've got my shoey pictures up there somewhere too.
yeah, but that's
I
tainted.
really hope that they don't pick me.
tainted.
Look,
It's too close to fuckwit.
he doesn't like a certain Red Bull driver from the 2010 era.
Yeah. This is pre-Formula One that I've got signed there.
He doesn't like him. He never liked him. He
Yeah,
never
I
liked him.
know he hasn't
Rocket
liked-
Russell had a grudge against a certain Mark Webber from day one.
A certain Mark Webber.
The very first day we started talking Formula One, I don't even know how we started talking about Formula One, you and I.
Actually, I can tell you exactly why. Because I walked into your office. This was before you moved up to the big fancy office.
Yep.
And you were down in the little shitty office.
Yep.
And it was Ferrari fucking bits and pieces all
That's
over
right,
your
I had
office.
Ferrari posters and
You had
shit.
Ferrari posters all over your office, and that's what kicked it off.
Yes, right. You said, "Do you like Formula One too?"
Do you want to talk to me about Formula
Yeah, that's right. And then just you get phone calls at work. You're like, "All right, let's get the bad shit out of the way so we can talk about the good shit." And the bad shit was, "Oh, it's fucking broken again, dude. Can you
Okay.
fix it?" Yeah, look, I don't know, man. That's really like fortune telling into the future stuff. But for this year, right, the only person is Hulkenberg, probably the Haas. See you later, Grosjean, and I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone.
He hasn't done any
No.
standout.
He's
And it'd
actually
be good
been-
to see Hulk and a Haas, as long as they fix.
You know what? He might actually perform really well.
And look, he might be what they need. They need a mature driver in there to give them some direction. I think Grosjean and Magnussen,
they don't get along.
they don't get along.
They're not doing their job as drivers either. They're not giving the team
The
the
feedback.
technical feedback that they need. That's what been well reported. So
So, and that's why Hulk would be a great decision to bring him in there, because he's going to help. I mean, he helps set up. I'm not saying that it may have helped, but he's helped set up Renault. Mm-hmm. Not that they're super at the moment, but he might do well in there.
yeah,
And I think Gene would like him. Good old Genie.
yeah, he'll probably get along. You know what? It's probably a more relaxed environment than Renault, and he's probably going to revel in it. I wouldn't be surprised if he outperforms the car. You know?
The interesting one with Haas will be if they keep their title sponsor.
That's going to go, man. That
'Cause
energy,
Rich
rich energy is bullshit. That's another topic in itself.
Oh, well, he's back as CEO now.
Is he?
And he's the one who doesn't like it. Whatever his name is, the bearded one.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Gandalf.
It's an impressive beard for somebody who's worth so much money.
Yeah.
How does someone look so cheap?
Yeah.
No, but see, that was all silly too.
Homeless
Like they were going to
hipster.
pull out of the Haas sponsorship because of performance.
There was no performance clause.
There's-
As
yeah.
Gene came out quite quickly and slapped him up the side of the head and went,
Well, they
there is no
actually-
performance clause
Yeah, but
in
they
your
actually,
contract.
but Rich Energy said there was a performance clause, but there never was. I'll tell you what, there's two sides to this story. Whoever actually signed or supposedly signed the Rich Energy sponsorship with Haas, on the Haas side, should be fucking shot. Because they obviously didn't look at the finer detail
the
on
drop
that.
kick running.
No, they didn't. I mean,
We got a sponsor.
well, I think it's a bit like that. And then,
Haas is big enough it could self-sponsor. I mean, really, Haas machinery is.
well, this is why. Do you remember when Haas first came into the sport? I think it was like 2015. I think it was about. They've been in it for about 3 years, haven't they?
about
3 or 4 years.
2-3 years, yeah.
So when they came into it, everyone sort of said, "Well, how come your car's got no sponsorship apart from Haas on the side of it?"
Because we got money.
No, Gene Haas said he wanted his name and the brand of Haas to be the only thing you see on the car because that's what he wanted to sell. His tools,
Yeah, Haas. Yeah.
Haas tools. That's what he wanted. He actually knocked sponsors back. And then they got their big first major sponsor title, title sponsor or whatever you call them, Rich Energy, and they're a fucking baloney bullshit company, man. And whoever signed that on the Haas side needs to be shot because they didn't do their due diligence, man.
He's a dropkick, that guy.
Yeah, and the guy that runs Rich Energy's a shonk.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
the
he's
guy
a
I'm talking
shonk.
about.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the guy on the Haas side who works in
he's-
Haas. Whoever signed that off,
He just saw dollars.
He just saw, but he didn't do his due diligence. That should never have been signed off. They would have been way better without a title sponsor this year. They got caught out red-handed, man.
Yeah, and I mean, what, Rich Energy's in receivership? Well, sorry, no, it's just come out of receivership, hasn't it?
Yeah, but
He's got back, he gave in the CEO-ship, and
Yep.
now has just got it back.
So-
and
so-
somewhere along the line managed to buy 1,000, there's only like 30,000 shares in
Yeah.
the company, and he's managed to buy back enough to put him back in a majority holder.
You know what? I'll tell you what. One thing we can pretty much agree on and guarantee is that Rich Energy will not be the title sponsor for Haas next year.
Yeah, no,
I don't think that car's going to be black and gold next year.
I'd like to still see it black and gold, but just
Oh,
without
Lotus,
Rich
man.
Energy.
The old Lotuses.
Love the old black and gold. The old
Yeah.
black and gold JPS colours.
Yeah.
Oh.
The John Player special. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. I mean, I could be really controversial here, and I'd say, look, the biggest thing that Formula One made a mistake on, but it wasn't their call,
Cigarette sponsorship.
cigarette sponsorship. Because local governments banned it, but cigarette sponsorship, I don't think people really appreciate how much money they provided for the sport.
Now they
because
have
as
to
soon as cigarette sponsorship disappeared, teams started crying poor.
Yep.
They started saying, "Oh, we can't afford this bullshit now," and all of a sudden, people were like, "Oh shit, what do you mean?" Well, for years, sponsorship was the tobacco companies were bankrolling the sport. Like Philip Morris, the amount of money they pumped into it was insane. You know?
All the tobacco companies.
Yeah.
And even down to, I mean, you know, there's still one certain company, one certain brand in the Formula One that still runs.
Yeah, well, Philip Morris, Marlboro, they still sneak it in somehow.
Well, it's Mission Minion.
Yeah.
And if you go onto the Mission Minion website, it is basically just giving up smoking.
Yeah, but that's Philip Morris.
Yes.
That's Marlboro. They sponsor Ferrari.
No, they don't sponsor
Oh,
Ferrari.
they've got the logo on the car.
They
Well,
own the outside of the Ferrari.
yeah, but they used to. I don't. Do they?
No, they still
do, don't they?
They still own the outside of the Ferrari.
But did they put the logo on there still? I can't remember. No, it's off, isn't
It's
it?
Mission Minion now. They put on there.
Is
Or
it
Minion Mission.
Is
Isn't
it still on there on the wing? It used to be on the rear wing of the Ferrari.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
And even when they did ban cigarette sponsorship or advertising, what they do? They put the fucking barcode of a Marlboro, pack of Marlboro Reds on the side of the car.
Yeah.
It was like, oh,
But you know what? I
it's
used to.
cheeky.
I know I'm being controversial here, but I used to love the advertising on the cars. Like Rothmans, the Williams Rothmans Renault, that looked fucking beautiful.
They were
The Camel,
gorgeous.
what was it? The
Lotus.
Lotus Camel. And I used to like you can't beat the McLaren Marlboro. The old
The West.
the red and white.
The old Marlboro from the 80s.
it-
Yeah. That's
those
the
McLarens
classic.
are beautiful, man. I mean, they did look like moving cigarette packets, but they looked unreal.
They provided money into the sport.
And again, people didn't appreciate how much money was going into those teams. And as soon as the rug got pulled out underneath them because of regulation, everyone went, oh, we're broke. You know what I can't believe? I was thinking about this the other day. McLaren do have Coca-Cola as one of their sponsors, but their sponsorship's so small you can barely see it on the side of the car, the Coca-Cola symbol. You know, it's on the side pod of the McLaren.
Is it?
Mate, you can barely see it. Watch the race tonight. I guarantee you'll text me going, I just saw it, but I can't believe how small it is. That's what she said. Mate, it is tiny. That's what she said.
When I look at that fucking McLaren, all I can see is those three fucking.
Have a look at their race
the
jackets.
front.
Have a look at their race jackets. It's got Coca-Cola on their chest, but the actual side pod of the McLaren at the present has Coca-Cola on it, but it's on a really weird place on the side pod. And because the colours don't work, you can't really pick the colour up of Coca-Cola. It's on there. But what I'm trying to say is I can't believe big sponsors like Pepsi and KFC, like in Indy cars. You know, Indy cars have got Target, Duracell.
Their sponsorship is massive.
It's insane, man. And they got all the McDonald's, like all these major M&Ms. How is that shit not in F1? What's preventing them from coming into F1? I couldn't believe it because I'm thinking you're all crying poor for sponsorship, but if I look at Indy cars, they got like M&Ms, McDonald's, Target, KFC, fucking you name it, all these big giant American companies. How is that shit not on the fucking side of a Formula One car?
Because and you're going to hate me for saying this. What? NASCAR is a fucking better spectacle at the moment than F1.
It is, man. Yeah, it is.
Are
you talking NASCAR or IndyCar?
NASCAR. NASCAR is the biggest growing sport in the world.
I know it is, but I don't like the tracks, man. I'm not traditional.
It's boring. It's batshit.
Yeah, it is.
Turn left.
I fucking hate. I can't watch it, man.
But in watching it from the background, watching shit that goes on to make those fucking cars turn left, wow.
I know, but I'm a prick and I don't know what I'm talking about. But when I watch those cars and I go, mate, there's no talent in this. But
no, there's plenty of talent.
But I know there is. But when I look at it as a layman, I'm like, all they do is turn left.
You look, we had Marcus Ambrose, one of Australia's most talented drivers, go over there, and I mean they took him through the ranks. Ford, because he went over there as part of the Ford deal, they took him through the trucks, they took him through the Xfinity, and then put him into NASCAR. And he still couldn't get used to it. He was good on two tracks, and they were two road tracks.
I agree. I just don't find NASCAR interesting at all. I don't find IndyCar that interesting. But Formula One could learn a lot from IndyCar because there's a lot of innovation in IndyCar that Formula One lacks. I'll give you one example. IndyCar has like the big LED numbers on the side pods of the car, like near the airbox, so you know what the driver number is. Why doesn't F1 fucking do that?
They need to, dude. Why do we need to do that?
I'm just saying, why don't they?
Because if you're a new guy in there, you know to look at the top of the car, and the fluorescent yellow one is normally your second driver.
Yeah, but if I'm
stupid. No, I'm with you. I'm just being a smart ass.
If you're a spectator, right? Because I've been to races, so have you.
And the cars
right?
go,
you wait till you go to Singapore, right? Jason, Relaxation. You'll see the car and you'll go, who the fuck's that? And they rely on you looking at the helmet. Mm-hmm. That doesn't help.
Which you can't see when it's traveling.
And it doesn't help because you look at, let's use Williams as an example. They're both running red fucking helmets.
Yeah, right? Now, Lando Norris has only just changed his helmet
he'll stand out like dog's balls because he's got Valentino Rossi.
Exactly. He's a big fan of Valentino Rossi, so it looks like the Valentino Rossi colours. But if I'm a spectator in the crowd and I've been to races, you don't know which car's which, apart from the teams. You don't know which driver within the same team.
Unless you know that your driver's running the yellow on the camera point on the top. You got no idea.
But in IndyCar, they've got big LEDs on the side, near the airboxes to say what number car they are. Fuck me. That's a great innovation. Why doesn't Formula One do that shit?
Because that's white.
Well, you know what? If it's universal, what's the problem? It's the same as cameras.
Well, it's the same.
It's the same as TV cameras. Yeah. So they all have to run the same TV cameras each car, so they've got equal weight.
Yes.
If they all run the same numbers and it is weight, well, they're all penalised.
So V8 Supercars Australia has just bought that. Well, they're trialling it at the moment. There's only a few cars, so it actually flashes up driver number, so your car number. But it alternates between what position you're sitting in on the race at the moment.
Oh, cool.
Which is quite a good idea.
Well, that's another good idea too. So again, why doesn't Formula One talk about that bullshit? You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it. I watch IndyCar and quite often I go, IndyCar's got a lot of innovation that Formula One just seems to lack. I know they're traditionalists and they have to agree on everything for it to actually happen. But when I look at IndyCar, I go, well, these guys have got their business acumen pretty set up well because they've got a lot of sponsorship. They've got heaps of it, actually.
Almost too
So
much.
they must have, it's a bit like a moving billboard of, and it does look a bit ugly, but they've got heaps of sponsors, right? So they're not crying money, they're not, crying poor in terms of that revenue, I'm sure. And they've got these innovations like LED driver's numbers on the side pods. They've got all sorts of shit.
They also have the tower. I love the tower.
The tower's cool. Yeah.
Watching a Nascar or an Indy car, they've got that big tower on the pitch straight that tells you who's in first, car number. That is such a simple thing, and it's great.
But some racetracks in Europe do as well, don't they? Near the pitch straight.
A few of them, not many.
Yeah, but you're right, because when you go to Austin for the Circuit of the Americas in the Grand Prix for Formula One there, because it is a track that uses Indy cars and I think uses NASCARs as well.
Yes.
They have that big tower. And that's a very American thing, but it's cool as shit.
It is cool as shit. And it makes life so much easier.
See, this is what shits me. The Formula One bullshit regulations, they're all about the performance and about the track to make it for the spectator. But they do it for the spectator on the TV, not the spectator at the track. The guy at the track doesn't get the benefit of the TV coverage, and he or she doesn't get to see what car is what position they are very clearly. They don't, unless they're looking at an app on their phone. That's bullshit, man. I don't get why they don't look at the Indy cars and go, well, why don't we put They're going through all this radical change now for 2021.
They actually
Why didn't they say at that point, we'll put LED numbers on the side of the car. Every track has to have a big column like the Americans do, so you can see the position very clearly on the TV. Oh, no. You know what I mean? It'll be another 10 years of more fucking debate for that to happen.
Because you got to remember, Liberty Media is American.
So why aren't they talking about it?
Who knows that they aren't?
Yeah, but they're not saying it.
Well, they're not saying it to us.
No.
But this may be... I mean, they're not saying anything about the regulations, changes they're going to make.
Oh, they've been pretty detailed about what they want.
Yeah.
So what I'm surprised that they're not talking about is those little things, because that's not a competitive advantage. That's a universal change.
That's like the common courtesy thing.
I'll tell you what it's like. I'll tell you what the same... It's a bit like this. They've 100% confirmed the existence of 18-inch tyres for the 2021 regs.
It's there. Did you see it?
What?
Did you see the car?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It actually looks really good.
That's what I'm saying. They've confirmed the existence of 18-inch rims. Why couldn't they say we're also adding LED lights on the side of the car? Or shit like that. You know what I mean?
Because it's at Monza.
I know, but what I'm saying is why didn't they talk about for 2021?
Yeah, okay.
You know what I'm saying? To me, it's a visual aesthetic. It's a visual difference, like 18-inch wheels. 18-inch wheels will change the performance of the car too, but
it's going to change the handling of the cars.
Everything, suspension, the lot, right? But what I'm saying is, if they're going through these radical changes, what they're not taking into account is the person that's on the side of the track watching the fucking race. I've been to races, and I can tell you now, you don't know who's who. You got
no idea.
You know that it's a Red Bull, you know it's a Ferrari, you know it's a McLaren, but you don't necessarily know it's Lando Norris. Yeah. You don't necessarily know it's Daniel Ricciardo. You don't really know.
No, if you're somebody who's just been given tickets and turns up the track on the day.
I know they put the numbers on the side of the cars now.
But you can't see them. They're going so fucking fast.
But they didn't fucking standardise it again. They made every team uses different fucking colours and different positions and all sorts of bullshit. Formula One really shits me sometimes. Like, they're very, very clever in a lot of things, but they're very fucking stupid in others.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Oh, they just... Yeah.
And when I watch Indy cars, I go, hang on. These guys have got fucking sponsorship coming out of their ass. They got fucking Duracell batteries, KFC, McDonald's,
They are
Pepsi.
Very American.
Yeah, yes. But why? Okay, but apparently Formula One's got the biggest coverage of any motorsport in the world. That's what they say, right? Coca-Cola's dipped their toes in the water with a tiny little... you laugh when you see it.
I've seen it. I've just looked at it. It's hilarious.
It's hilarious how small it is. Are you telling me Coca-Cola doesn't sell in Europe? Are you fucking why wouldn't Coca-Cola have a big fuck off Coca-Cola sign on the side of the McLaren?
Well, that's because...
And what McLaren... Because McLaren a year ago we've got no money. Remember when the McLaren had no sponsorship? Yeah. And they said, we've got title sponsors coming. And they put Chandon on the fucking champagne company on the rear wing. Are you telling me Coca-Cola wouldn't do that?
Coca-Cola would
I call bullshit, man.
Yeah, I don't know what the go is there.
They're promoting a wealthy image and healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, it's unhealthy. There you go.
Oh, come on, man. Coca-Cola.
Whereas NASCAR is more like, America, let's put on McDonald's and
the thing.
KFC.
That's
They
what you got to
haven't-
take about.
but-
It's America, NASCAR, Indy cars aimed at your working class.
it's your
you know?
audience is a
Whereas your
different
Formula
audience.
One is more aimed
But
at
there's no
your
regulation.
white collar.
Rocket Russell, there's no regulation saying they can't have sponsors based on food, like KFC.
No, there's not, but the demographics
The
that
car,
company is
the
looking to get
manufacturer.
I
themselves
know it's all
at.
about marketing. I know it is.
You know-
but you would think Formula One would try and be more proactive on this shit.
No, see, because
right?
Formula One's they like that a little elitist threshold that they carry. You know, we are the echelon. We are the top of the pops. We are, you know, technology doesn't get any better than this. If we start putting Maccas on the side of the car,
You're
what's to
cheaping it.
differentiate us between you? And
How would you feel if
I
you...
must admit, you're right, because I can remember famously Enzo Ferrari said he doesn't want sponsorship on his cars, period, when he was alive.
Yeah,
right?
he just wanted the skedaddle
Exactly
badge,
right.
that
So
was it.
Ferrari, for the longest time, had no sponsorship at all, apart from, I think it was a Jeep,
Or Shell.
which was the, and
Which
maybe
it was an oil
oil
anyway.
company, and maybe Shell. And then there was maybe a couple of little minor sponsors.
The only other one was-
Fiat was on the rear of the car.
No, Fiat wasn't on there until he sold to Fiat. Before then, it was Alfa Romeo.
Correct, right? And then surely as time went on after he passed away, Marlboro / Philip Morris or vice versa came into it and sponsored Ferrari.
were there
but
before.
very small.
They were-
Very small.
Yeah.
Not like McLaren sold out big time, man. Their car was literally a Marlboro pack, right? But Ferrari had a very small bit of sponsorship on their car
Yeah.
because Enzo said, "I don't want that. My cars don't get fucking." They're
Then
not
you got to think.
sponsors."
You got to think. Look at
billboards.
how would you feel as somebody who is a potential purchaser of a Mercedes if there was a big McDonald's sticker on the Mercedes F1 car?
That's a good point. That's a good point. It's something I didn't really think about. It's a very good point. But when I look at the Indy cars, I think, how come they've got all this sponsorship?
But
you're
Indy
right.
cars
But-
trying to sell
but-
different
yeah.
demographics.
But you're right.
demographics.
Mercedes cars probably wouldn't want Maccas on their cars. They want to look pure.
Yeah. Could
Right?
you imagine?
And-
could you imagine the Tifosi if they rolled out tonight the Ferrari Formula One game? We've got a new sponsor, KFC. Could you imagine the Tifosi tomorrow? Oh my God, they burn fucking Maranello down.
They would, man. They would.
They would burn
But
Maranello
other teams,
down.
But other teams, though, maybe don't give a shit.
Maybe if it was San Remo pasta.
Maybe,
Yeah, but- yeah,
maybe
but-
if it was Red Bull.
Well, Red Bull's a good one, but they're affiliated with something else.
But Red Bull's
Silly energy.
everything.
But you know
that's
what?
what I mean. Silly energy
But I'll
drink.
tell you something else. A team like Williams probably don't give a fuck because Williams don't sell cars. Williams probably want as much sponsorship as they need, as they can get.
They're really pushing into esports, aren't they?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is Williams probably would go for a McDonald's or a Target,
Look, I think
something
they'd be
like
happy
that.
for some serious money.
That's what I'm saying. Williams would be a team that would be open to it, and
They're
that's
not,
why
they're not poor. I was watching.
Well, then give teams the option.
I know they're not poor, but what I'm saying is they'd be open to more revenue.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying.
You're right.
The talk of a takeover and Williams being bought out by other people has been quite washed. They're okay. They're all good.
But they probably wouldn't knock back a sponsorship.
Oh, they wouldn't.
from,
Definitely
no.
wouldn't spot.
So you're right. There
I mean,
would
we've
be
got Rexona on the side of the car. No, that was last year.
Rexona's a great example, right? And this is what I'm trying to get at. There'd be some teams on the grid like Ferrari, Mercedes, the manufacturers, Renault, maybe not. There's some teams on the grid that definitely don't want their cars tainted by a KFC logo or a McDonald's logo. But teams like Williams probably wouldn't give a shit.
No.
They'd sell out quite happily, you know? And back in the day, teams like Jordan, when they existed, 100% would sell out.
Oh,
Right.
Eddie would have.
Eddie would have sold his soul, man. Eddie Jordan?
Eddie
no
would have sold
problem.
his grandmother if he could get 50 cents out of it.
Yeah. It's just an interesting debate. Not that I plan to talk about sponsorship in Formula One, but it's just interesting when the teams cry poor.
Oh, could you imagine how much Coke would love to see a Ferrari Formula One
Oh, man.
car in all red?
Yeah, with Coke.
with just Coca-Cola on the
the
side.
white little logo.
That was it. That's all.
Just on the rear fucking wing, I reckon.
Nah, down the side.
Yeah.
Down the
Just-
side, Coke.
in
Well,
red.
Ray-Ban's on there. Ray-Ban.
But
that's
Ray-Ban's not-
But Ray-Ban goes well with their prestige.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like it's, you know, a set of
And
what-
Tag
I
Heuer
don't-
with Red Bull,
yeah,
Tag
yeah,
Heuer
and
watches.
you look
Yeah.
police glasses with Mercedes Benz.
That's right. You're taking top
Carrera
top-notch stuff.
with Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, see, it's not your Richard Mille with McLaren. Have you ever been onto that website?
Oh, yeah, it's expensive shit.
Wow,
Yeah.
I don't think I could afford to get on the website.
No.
It's product. It's just product
Yeah,
marketing.
it's all about prestige and shit, but some teams like Williams, they could easily put a Macca's
easily.
on logo. You know what I'm saying?
Easily. But I mean, I don't think. I think this is the other problem: is how much is it going to cost them to get on the side of a Formula One car compared to a side of an Indy car?
Oh, it's going to be way more on a Formula One car.
Because I
for
mean,
sure.
Indy cars pretty much is America. They don't really go anywhere else anymore.
They used to.
They used to come to Australia.
Yeah.
They used to do all sorts of
They
things.
don't
but
do the Indy.
They used to do the Gold Coast, didn't
They
they?
don't,
The Gold Coast.
they don't do it anymore, do they?
I haven't done it in years. You know, so I think it's a purely American market. You know, and you've got it's the right demographic.
Yeah.
You know, where we can put KFC, we can put Macca's on there, and we're only advertising to this crowd in America, whereas Formula One is more of a worldwide thing. So, it's.
I don't know. I just watched an Indy race one time and I went, "There's a lot of sponsors here, man."
You watch a NASCAR race.
oh, it's insane.
The amount of sponsorship, fuck. We'd kill for sponsorship like that in Australia.
Yeah.
If we could get that on our V8 supercars, oh my God. But our markets, with what population of 23 million, which is the same population as LA in business hours.
Well, they've got more than 10 times the population, don't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
It's.
Well, anyway, you know what? I'm busting for a piss.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's an hour 45. Yeah.
I'm busting for a piss bad. No bullshit. Have we said anything we wanted to say about F1?
Yeah.
As an update?
It's an update,
F1
yep.
and you losing a testicle over
I've lost
the,
a testicle today and I feel a little bit less...
a little bit lighter.
I feel a bit lighter. It's like a load off my mind. No pun intended. Jason, relaxation. You got everything. You got it all out. You've said everything you wanted to say.
I've said all the things.
Rocket Russell, have you said everything you wanted to say?
I'm all good. I'm hoping for a good race tonight.
I'm hoping for a good race too, and I just want to be proven wrong. Actually,
I just want Dan Ricciardo in a Ferrari.
No,
That's got me excited now.
No, because I don't think in Ferrari he's going to go well with a culture, and I don't think he'd be a number one.
I don't give a fuck. Just 1 year. I don't care.
Yeah, I know, but I just want
Give me a 1 year deal.
But you know
with
what?
merchandise.
Before all of that, I just want him to have some success at Renault. I want to actually be proven wrong.
I want to see him have success, full stop.
Like the Xbox 360 Kinect bullshit that I was wrong with. I want to be proven wrong with Renault and Daniel Ricciardo. You know what I said the last time we talked F1? I want to be wrong on that.
Yeah.
But I've got a bad feeling I'm not. But I want to be proven wrong. And I hope tonight is a turnaround because they've qualified well. But you and I will probably text each other at 10:30 at night and go, fuck this race. Fuck this. I can see it now. I can see it.
Oh, easily. It's
Anyway,
You know it's going to happen.
I know it's going to happen. But until then, I need to take a piss bad. So we're done.
We're done.
Thank you, Rocket Russell, for coming in, as always,
Thanks
talking
for
about
having
F1 and everything else. Thank you, Jason Relaxation, for being you. Don't go changing. Thank you for the two people that have been listening to this bullshit podcast. Thank you, Mum, for letting us use your basement. I'm sorry I ranted about the Xbox 360 Kinect. I can't help it. I've just lost a fucking testicle. That's a rabbit hole I can't get out of, as well as Formula One. I keep seeming to talk about it, and now I've got no testicles to back me up on my claim. I feel like half a fucking man. In fact, I probably am. And I'm going to go home and check that my testicle is still actually there. I fucking kind of need it. Maybe I don't. Who knows? I'm going to see if it still works. That's another little fucking debacle.
Jesus.
I'll be getting onto Google to see how to make key rings.
Yeah. Like a Roo one.
And if Rocket Russell turns up next time on this bullshit podcast wearing my testicle as a necklace or a trophy, like you know those hunters
We
that
could
use
make
the
it like
ears?
the
They got the ears like the Predator. They got the ears like after they're...
We could make it a perpetual trophy for the Invert the Why cast.
No.
He who's pissed Dan off him after gets the testicle.
Yuck.
I can't believe I lost a testicle on this podcast. I never thought that had actually happened. Oh my God.
That's brilliant.
You probably shouldn't have flopped your cock out in front of everyone then.
I actually did do that this podcast. That was horrific. I don't think Rocket Russell's the same after that. But,
Some shit you just can't unsee.
but you know what disturbs me even more? The fact that he looked at it and didn't look away.
It was like a car accident.
And Jason Relaxation went, how is it that in the genetic gene pool he got a bigger one than I did?
Poor old Jason turned around to get copped with a mirror.
That was the best bit. He actually thought he'd be safe turning away, but he actually saw it more because he looked in the mirror.
That he probably put there.
No, I didn't.
No, it was part of the house.
Oh, okay.
Part of the mystery of this basement.
Yeah,
Rocket Russell.
that's why the color is so fucking horrific down here as well.
He never painted it down here. No, but we're moving studios.
It's on my to-do list.
We're moving studios. It's all right. It's okay. We don't have to worry about it anymore. Until next week, you little fucking ingrates with one testicle. We'll talk about more Retronym and more bullshit. But until then, you can roll a buggies with one testicle.